Hello guys, gals and non-binary pals, and welcome to the final day, the grand finals day of the Lioness Cup, brought to you by Women in Esports. We started this event with 32 teams. We've whittled it down to 2. Beyblade Ninjas and Surrenderers are the 2 teams that are going to be joining us on a best of 5 grand finals to decide the winner of the cup. I am here once again with the beautiful duo of Hazza and Cairo, and we are so ready to get going with this day of excitement. How are you two?
Yeah, not too bad. Got a good night's rest. I was in my bed, tucked up. I got my mum to come and tuck the covers in, and I was all nice and chilly in like a little burrito. So I was in bed. I was asleep for about 11 o'clock. Up nice and breezy. I've been my wee walk, so it's been a good day so far.
Okay, Hazza, how are you feeling?
Keeled out of bed about 15 minutes before call time.
That's
some
me.
egg on toast, and I'm ready to go cast the game. So yeah, feels like the roles have been reversed for the first time coming into a broadcast day between me and Cairo. But no, I'm looking forward to it.
That's great. We love a different energy. You know what?
I'm
feel
here
like
for realism.
we wish we could all be Cairo. I feel like, but I feel like I was the same as you. I woke up, about 30 minutes before I had to. I went, I got an energy drink. I put on makeup, and then I got on camera, and that's what we've been doing so far this morning. But either way, it's not about us, is it? It's about the players. It's about the teams. It's about that prize money. And things are looking great. Things are shaping up to be a really good day of Valorant. Obviously, we've been through the trials and tribulations of the whole tournament so far, and we have come out with these 2 teams, which I have to say are presenting the best prospect for an amazing best of 5 that we could have got.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Twiggy. You could actually argue that this matchup would have been the upper brackets final if they had not met in the semis. So that's it makes for some interesting storylines to come out of.
For sure. Has any thoughts between the 2? Obviously, we'll talk about circumstances regarding the Beyblade Ninjas in a second, but just off the top of your head, what are we thinking about these 2 teams?
Yeah, I feel like those circumstances, which you can touch on in a minute, may have somewhat tainted the matchup, but otherwise you have to consider this being the 3rd time that they'll have played each other in the competition. Surrenderers won the initial game that they played, best of 1 in Swiss, 13-11 on Ascent. We saw the upper bracket semis, which was a little bit more one-sided for Beyblade Ninjas. Now coming into the final, I really actually don't know where to call this one coming into the best of 5.
For sure, and looking at players, let's take just a quick, overview of some of the players that you guys are looking to highlight going into this one. I think, Cairo, you were the one who gave us this little matchup, so how about you talk us through it?
Yeah, I think this is something that I really wanted to talk through because of the impact that both Elsie and Superfrog have had for the respective teams. Superfrog, we've commented on so many times about the way that they've been able to make space even if they're not getting the frags, and I feel as if like Elsie has been doing that as well. Obviously, like Superfrog has has better stats because of the run that they had in the upper bracket. Elsie maybe not as much. Living up to those heights, but really, like, you look towards what's happening in terms of like the kills and the entries, and Elsie almost like just pips Superfrog to the post.
Yeah, for sure. Has a thoughts about this one?
I think this is a really interesting matchup, so I'm happy that Cairo highlighted it. I think you're looking at 2 duelist players with very different playstyles, but playstyles which suit how their team likes to try and approach the game. I think Superfrog has just been that main space maker and problem creator for Beyblade Ninjas, heading straight in, being the spearhead of those attacks, whereas Elsie Frags has been a bit more like, someone who's working extremities of the map, playing a few default heavy rounds, taking timings and taking risks, honestly, to try and punish her opponent. But both of them have found a lot of success in each of these roles, and I'll be curious to see what that head-to-head looks like.
Okay, for sure. We should quickly talk about Beyblade Ninjas here. And, well, it's good that we're highlighting Superfrog with this one, because Superfrog is going to be filling in as IGL, as I understand it, as there is some internet problems with Claudia, which does mean that they are going to be using a sub. It does mean that the IGL role is going to shift. As far as I understand it, some more roles are going to shift as well. So this is a pretty difficult time for them. They're going to be at a pretty significant disadvantage going into the grand finals. Do you think that is going to really affect the series, or do you think the players are going to have that kind of quality to be able to, suck up the punch to the gut and keep going?
I think the players 100% have the quality to get this over the line. It's not just... Well, Claudia has been really star-studded in terms of the statistics and how the game's been played. I imagine the other players will be chipping in with ideas and stuff like that and how they wanted to play the matches. The only thing that I will say, though, is speaking to Superfrog on the interview the other day, on Friday, they did attribute a lot of their game plan to Claudia, and that's where I begin to worry, because if Claudia's the kind of main vocal IGL as we know them to be, then how does this matchup look up against someone like Jade, someone on Surrenders who can call a really great attack or defense if it's needed?
Yeah, and has touching on the same point, obviously Jade, kind of the initiator player there as well as the IGL. Claudia was the initiator as well as the IGL. Now we've got traditionally, at the very least, a duelist player being that IGL for the team. Is that really going to heavily impact that duelist kind of capability on that one? What do we think the dynamic is going to shift to there?
It really depends what kind of leadership Superfrog wants to bring to this team. If it's going to be an incredibly taxing one, which makes her job more difficult or not, or if it's just calling base macro before the round actually starts. The mid-rounding should probably be left to more of the team. But to draw that comparison between Jade and Claudia, you have to consider that these are both players who can frag out as well. Yeah. Claudia being the MVP of the last time these two teams faced, 38 kills, 24 assists, plus 19 overall. You cannot understate the amount of impact she can have on a game individually, and I think it's going to be a real big missing component.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, we've taken a look at Beyblade Ninjas. Wow, that was amazing from me. And obviously, we've taken a look at the kind of trials that they're going to have to go through for this one. But on the other side, Surrenderers have already been through their trials. They have had, they had a pretty tough time against Beyblade Ninjas last time they played. It was 2-0. They only won 10 rounds over the course of the whole series. But they've fought back so impressively and really have had some tough games leading up to this point. I think that mental fortitude has really come to play for them over the course of the last few lower bracket games that they've had. Cairo, what kind of mental state do you think they're in right now?
I think you've got to be feeling good coming into this one, especially with the little bit of surprise that obviously Claudia's not playing. It's now about playing their own game and realistically sticking together as a unit, and I think, well, yesterday more specifically would have brought them together even closer. Remember, as Jade was saying, this is only a mix that right enough has been practicing theory and stuff that you wouldn't expect them to, but a mix nonetheless. So they won't have all these set strategies and stuff that you would think that like a normal team would have.
Well, we have our veto ready, so we can take a look at the map picks and bans. We'll see if anything has changed here for Beyblade Ninjas with the changes they're making to the team. And finally, no, we're not seeing Breeze or Bind. I mean, it's the same kind of stuff we were expecting earlier on. Nothing has changed. Haven is pretty much the furthest change that we've got here so far from the map pools that we've seen over the course of the tournament so far. So still Breeze and Bind. Not really ones that anybody wants to play, but how do we think this one's going to pan out, Hazza?
I think this is the set of maps we were expecting, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that there was any expectation that Breeze would be making its way in, and Bind as well. Bind only being played twice in the tournament. I'm not sure whether that's just playoffs or Swift stages, but none of it happened on camera, and neither of these teams have ever considered it part of their pool. So, to be honest, I don't really see there necessarily being too much bias for either of these teams, map to map. And again, with the fact that Claudia is absent, I'm going to be looking a lot more towards how good each team's defender's side is rather than their attack. I think both of them have been fairly simplistic with their approach of it before, but starting out on Haven, it's how some of these defaults are going to look, especially with Beyblade Ninja starting on the attack as well. I mean, the pressure is on early for them to perform, but again, they could quite easily turn it around as this one drags on.
Yeah, for sure. Cairo, do you think Ascent is kind of a reactive pick against Beyblade Ninjas here? Obviously, last time they played that one, it was their pick against Neon Blade, and it didn't quite go as planned.
Yeah, it didn't go as planned. That would be like the third time that they've played Ascent between each other. And honestly, I think it's just going to be It's one of those ones where like you think about it like, oh, we've reviewed it, we know exactly what's going on, so that will be like a real contentious second map. And I think for me the most important one was actually the third map, Sunset. I feel as if we haven't really seen Beyblade Ninjas play on that just yet, and they were actually insta-banning it out in a few of the earlier series. So whether this is an ace up the sleeve, Super Frog feels comfortable IGLing on it, I mean, this is going to be a completely unknown playground, and we're guaranteed to get it as well.
Yeah, obviously 3 maps guaranteed. If a team wins 3-0, that is that. But Lotus and Split are the last 2 maps. What do we guys think is going to kind of be the case here? I think probably we're going to go further than 3 maps. Obviously, we're yet to see what the new Beyblade Ninjas will look like, but obviously it does level the playing field quite a bit on this one. Do we think we're going to Lotus and Split? If so, what do you think is going to kind of be going through the minds of the players?
Personally, oh sorry, on you go, Hazza.
No, I just wanted to firstly agree with the point you made about Sunset. I think this is going to be a really important test right in the middle of the veto as to how both of these teams look, because as Cairo mentioned, we haven't seen Beyblade Ninjas play on it yet, but for Surrenderers yesterday, this was a map which they just sort of floated in the veto. They expected it to come up against Neon Blade, and they had some pretty strong results, so they said, you know what, let's actually just pick into this tomorrow. I think this could have quite a bit of value for us. The point you were making yesterday, Twiggy, about looking forward to that best of 5, this is clearly something that they've lifted from their previous performance. But to go back to your question of Lotus, I could probably see this being the final map played. Honestly, I think that this one could really make a big difference for both of these teams as to how it ends up going. I do favour Beyblade Ninjas somewhat slightly coming into that one. If, you know, we see Surrenderers take it, we could be in for 5 maps, but I think at the very least it will be 4, and Lotus could be that big shift between the two.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're yet to see what will happen with the Beyblade Ninja side, if they will still have that quality. Obviously, the players have the quality by themselves. It doesn't matter if you take a piece out of that puzzle, the players are still going to be there with that one. It's all about that mentality for them now. But Cairo, you know, what is going to be the case here? Obviously, these matchups that we have are not changing in terms of player to player. It's more about, obviously, how the team is going to gel together. These are some maps that, while maybe not quite as team strat based as like something like Bind, they are still very kind of principled, especially as we get towards the end of the map pool with Lotus and Split. Do you think that is going to have a big impact? I mean, we're starting things off with more puggy kind of maps. We're going, as players get more fatigued, we're going even further into those kind of principled maps.
Yeah, I think like these first couple of maps, I think will probably go by probably fairly quickly, but also at a point where like you could see it going like to like 12, 12, 13, 11, you know, even though it will go by pretty quickly. As we get into, like, as you said, the later of the series, it's all about your mental fortitude, how you guys kind of bounce back from like long series and potentially hard losses. And you've got to say, one of these teams has already proven that front. That's Surrenderers. They have managed to come back in really hard series. Beyblade Ninjas, realistically, they were already up when they kind of went through their hard times. So again, it's something that Hazard was saying. It's a test of character, and Beyblade Ninjas are probably going through the hardest test possible.
Yeah, for sure. Hazard, do you think that is going to play a big part as well?
Yeah, 100%. I think both of these teams as well, one of the assets that they will have is at least coming through the Swiss stages. It was a lot longer, you know, day-wise than it'll end up being for even your best of 5. You go 5 maps, you're not playing 6. Swiss system, always best of 1, so that's how that ends up panning out. But yeah, I feel confident that both of these teams can, you know, make it through the day, however that ends up, however long that ends up being. There shouldn't really be any burnout. For me, it's more of that conversation of experience and sort of micromanaging these situations. You have players on the Beyblade Ninja side that just have so much caliber in terms of, you know, being in competitive environments, whether it's boot camping on LAN for their respective teams that they would have been playing in. Again, I think just not having a leader like Claudia in the server could be, you know, the biggest thing that they end up missing out on. And I was saying this even, you know, while we were in the green room before this started, like, you know, I think it would be valuable, even if she is having a couple of issues, maybe logging on or whatever, get her in the coach slot if you can at least afford to, because there's, you know, plenty that can be taken from having her there.
For sure. I mean, we already looked at the kind of the difference between SuperFrog and LC earlier on, but I want to touch on that one again. I think, you know, we've kind of made the implication over the course of the last few days that SuperFrog is a more principled kind of duelist, more concerned with making space than being at the top of the leaderboard, whereas LC is a lot more unpredictable, does a lot of things that, oh, sorry, I almost just stepped over my audio cable there, could be considered overextending a lot of the time. Do you think that's a kind of dynamic that is going to, although Beyblade Ninjas have already played against it, but while Beyblade Ninjas are having this kind of moment of trying to, you know, identify themselves again and try and get together a working strat book with this slightly changed roster, do you think that is going to be jarring for them and a little bit more catch them off guard, catch them on the back foot?
Oh, sorry. Wait, hello. Was that directed at me? I completely cut out.
We'll start with Cairo.
Don't know what happened.
Okay,
I can give you an answer. I actually, I don't know. Everything went black.
Oh my god.
So disappeared.
In real life or in the game?
Yeah,
to call you an ambulance?
I don't know. It was like, what do you call it? One of those things when like a star, like the flipping galactic ray like busts everything for like half a second.
Like the
I don't know. Look,
Mario.
anyway, forget about it. Right, I can give you the answer. I think in terms of like predictability, maybe what SuperFrog likes to do with some of those rollouts on a map like Ascent could be a bit predetermined, but you can still get similar reads on someone like Elsie. I think you'll know when she's looking to try and create space and make those timings, for example, like a map like Lotus, and again, why I think that could be such a difference maker. She's still trying to do a lot of the same things around the B site, for example, you know, pushing through smoke, stuff like that. Yeah, there'll be coordination with utility at times, but yeah.
Okay, sure. Cairo, thoughts on that one?
I mean, in terms of
apart from the star,
I was gonna say like let's exclude that part. I don't know. Like, has us already like addressed a lot of the points in terms of what you would expect. I think like Surrenderers, again, I feel as if they're a team that's going to focus on their own game and how they want to play it. I mean, that was the case against Neon Blade when they had their sub, you've got to remember. So they've already faced up against a similar opponent in that front. So I think that a lot of the time, Surrenderers will probably just be saying, right guys, we know what we've been doing, we've done our theory, we know how we want to rotate, we know how we want to play our defaults, let's just stick to that same concrete game plan and come back.
For sure. Has a
cosmic ray interference when the cluster of particles, you know, like the Super Mario 64 speed run when the person was able to do the glitch because the particle came down. That's what happened.
Oh yeah, no, that is a thing.
No, it is a thing, Cairo. Sorry, with the intellectuals are speaking. Anyway,
okay, hold on. Sorry, you have that in like your notebook there, or is that like
I can show you what's in the notebook
Doctor Who where it just says whatever you need?
No. With the off season taking its toll, I've been learning Chinese actually. So that's what
that is
in the
actually
notebook.
That is actually Mandarin or Cantonese?
Mandarin, I believe.
Okay,
so.
good. Great.
Yeah.
Love that.
Interesting.
I don't even know where to go from that. That was such a jarring.
Listen, this is like the most Haza thing ever. Like, what have you been doing in the off season? You know, I've been working on content. I've been learning Chinese.
It's time to learn Chinese, buddy. That's all I can say. Look, it's about getting those sunset reps in as well.
Yeah.
Watching all that EDG. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's
man.
Well, we're very close to the game starting, so we won't have to deal with the incredibly odd things that Haza has come out with. We've got cosmic ray interference and Mandarin now. That is the two tangents that we've been on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just gonna say, like, see, everybody thinks that like I'm the weird one. I'm just like the.
Do they?
I don't know. I thought so. I thought like everybody thought like when I come out with like my weird analogies and stuff like that, with like bougie,
okay, sure.
bougie ham and cheese
you're made
sandwiches.
for each other, I think, right?
Aww.
I think you're both weird.
It's like couples therapy.
I know. I get like, why does this always happen?
No, you're
with
not the
couples?
parental figure thing again. Please stop. No, let's not. Oh man, okay. I think we're about ready to get into game here. Not yet, never mind. I was just promptly stopped by the producer there, but either way, man. Okay, no, we are ready. Never mind. Cairo, please take it away for me here to start things off, and let's hope the rest of the day goes a little smoother than that.
take it away, the final, or just sort of take Twiggy away so that they can sort of feel a bit more comfortable after all of that nonsense? Who knows? Anyway, first map of the Grand Finals, first best of 5 that we see between these two teams. They have history in this tournament, both the Swiss and playoff stages. They will be meeting one final time, starting off on Haven, the pick of Surrenderers.
And there's not really much to talk about when we look at the agent select, Hazza, so probably better to look at what is actually changing in terms of who's playing who. Adora has moved in towards that controller spot, and Reyna now moved on to the initiator.
Yeah, it's an interesting mix, and we'll have to keep a close eye on what these role swaps look like from map to map, how exactly that ends up working. From memory, I believe that Adora historically had been like a Sentinel player, but Liza, of course, is not one that you'd maybe shift off that role, I suppose. So, yeah, just filling in the gaps. You want to keep some points of consistency. You're going to have Super Frog on the duel list, of course, and the weird Sova, Sonya, picking up the pieces on that agent and opting for it most maps, I think we'll see. Even Lotus as well, this is part of their comp.
Yeah, 100%. And I think as well, like, and this is not to be disrespectful to controller mains, but an Omen on Haven, everyone should know where the smokes are placed in certain scenarios. It shouldn't be too complicated. Not that Adora wouldn't be able to deal with the complications, but it should kind of slot in like a master key, you know?
Yeah, no, it's interesting actually. I've double checked this. Dora was on Frogs on Fire. She was actually the duelist in that team. So quite funny as well. You see a few of the leftovers from that team, Frogs on Fire, sort of mixed together with previous Neon Blade rosters that we saw as well. Even yesterday, Surrenderers, the lower bracket semi-final that they played. So so much overlap between these players, and not to say that Adora is necessarily going to be a plug and play in terms of how this substitution works, but you can only wish the best for her here on the controller as we kick off with Beyblade Ninjas on the attacking side.
Yeah, with Beyblade Ninjas looking to line themselves up on C, they are going to come head to head with that of Jade, and that's the breach, so there's a lot of stopping power here straight off the bat.
Yeah, early utility set up. You can see exactly what the play is here from Surrenderers on their defense. Expectant of the C play as it comes in. Foiled. 2 players taken down by Mosharu, and the choke well established. A 3 versus 1. Lisa, the only one left, and her position duly noted. Petite finishes things off, and Surrenderers from the lower bracket take the pistol.
Of all the pistol rounds to win, defense side even, absolutely massive. On top of that, though, Hazza, another thing to note is that, I mean, how many rounds would you expect the breach to start on C? It's unfortunate for the Beyblade Ninjas, and well thought out by Surrenderers.
Yeah, I mean, Jade just dropping in when she's needed and where she's needed more specifically. I think it was a nice read from Surrenderers, right? They didn't put very much presence on A whatsoever. You had a dash available from LC to get out of trouble early. And again, a utility combination. Nebula put up, but quickly recalled. Recon Dart to get her on the angle, and the rotate ready for B and C.
Ooh, unlucky Elsie. Still scaling up towards that B main as well. The alarm bot is watching that, and Jade imaginally closely playing off any contact.
It's nice to see Surrenderers already bringing a few of these different setups to how the defense works. One of them will now be tested. Stars in Garage. Gets caught by the stun, but gets away with a kill. Flash is traded. Neither breach player ends up coming the worse off. In fact, Surrenderers can just kick forward from this position and find a few more kills. Adora stuck in middle. The last 2 remaining players are, and Surrenderers might be thinking about pushing forward and taking them down to close this one out quickly.
Also don't want to lose any of those weapons, though, Hazard. That'd probably be, namely, the most important for them.
Just making the most of Elsie's position, right?
Yeah.
She's already up in guard, and there's no reason to really try and force this issue. You've got the turret, you've got the spike. Let them make the mistake.
I don't know if that was actually a tag, no it wasn't. Well, I think as we're down to the 15-second mark, actually one of the best things that Surrenders could do here is leave the two remaining attackers actually alive.
One enemy
In terms of economy, but they'll probably want those ultimate orbs at the same time.
Yeah, and they'll be able to farm them up as well. So another for Moshiru, and only 2 away from getting that Cosmic Divide online. I mean, defenders' side, Haven, notoriously difficult to be able to challenge for those early orbs. Maybe there's a question of getting the A orb. I'm not sure if Moshiru is going to become part of this A defense, which isn't something that we really see from them often. But again, shows a bit of flexibility about what the setup is like. And a little bit of early prioritization coming into the bonus. So decent weaponry, but just the one Vandal in her hands.
Again, really contested in towards A lobby, and having that control will give Surrenders all the information they need if there is going to be any A push.
I think it's important that Beyblade Ninjas start to re-clear some of this A space. You know, maybe invest a drone, get a bit more ground, because as it stands, Surrenderers are dumping the utility, putting one player there, and then just rotating off, well supporting the rest of the map. Beyblade Ninjas have been walking into it the last couple.
Oh, they can't quite cash Moshiru, but again, more utility wasted, more things to be burned through, more information that Surrenders can act upon.
Yeah, it is a very deep hold that Moshiru is going for here now on A. The alarm bot broken, drone reconfirming mid-presence, but they are scaling up onto A. Stars, clean shot in middle. Finally, the game is up, but Moshi has her own utility to play around here and survive just a little bit longer. That is the game being played, one of survival.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that the players are now coming in to fight together, they're fighting pretty well, has it. 2 of the attackers remain. Remember, those are the ones on the rifle. This is the rifle of Beyblade Ninjas. Liza trying to put up some resistance of their own, but the resistance of the defense is just too strong. Winning out the bonus, a really big round for Surrenderers on this defender side, Haven.
And again, it's just about how competent are Beyblade Ninjas going to look on their attack, how the round's playing out. As things stand, Superfrog hasn't really been taking up the role that we expected of her, you know? She is IGLing, so the nomination and sort of deliberations of Labour a little bit more stretched on her behalf. But I think even though the pistol round wasn't a success, I'd like to see them be, you know, a little more execute heavy here. I think it could definitely be an asset to how they're playing this, but for now, Surrender is doing a great job at mitigating that.
Not really on the board just yet, now holding down short with that operator, with the majority of players on long as well. Yep, straight away the prioritisation towards shot. That's a big shot himself from Lisa and from Superfrog.
Huge kills. Jay doesn't want to overplay this position, but she'll still get away with 2. Unpunished and untraded. Spike can get planted, but it's a 3 versus 3, and again, the young Scott finding a way to kick the door back open.
How do you get back in? I mean, you're basically relying upon Jade's util, and a lot of it was already used up. It's
unfortunate. You're 1 away from the Cosmic Divide, 2 from the lockdown. They've just got to look for some of this utility coming in. It's a counter recon. They do have a gravity well to the corner, but Beyblade Ninjas can shut it down eventually. A thrifty response, and what a way to get on the board.
Exactly, and on top of that, Hazard, they did exactly what you were looking for. A lot more blunt, forced approach, straight and direct onto the A site. I think as well, the biggest point about that was the fight between Liza and Elsie. If Liza doesn't win that out, then you know you've got like a little pocket of space that you have to deal with. You have to re-clear short, as well as the players coming to fight in through CT. Well played in the end, and now we go back to rifle versus rifle.
Placing swarm grenade.
Yeah, Beyblade Ninjas with the utility. Again, just not overcomplicating things, going for something a little more straightforward, like I said. Less resource intensive, perhaps. Here is Superfrog, shut down inside her own smoke. Moshiru hopping up onto the top step and delivering an elbow drop of a blow. Still, again, another 3 versus 3 for the retake, but it's Jade on spot once more.
And I can't believe that they've got away with another pick, Kaza. And look at this, Elsie's clearing out all the way through mid as well. So there's also a late play to think about.
Need to make a case of these fights backside just to establish order. But Petit runs by the screen of Adora. An unpleasant sight for the substitute, as it is a 4th now for Surrenderers. And again, you've got to consider some of these ultimates now that we're coming into the 6th round. They have so many online to play with, and they've not had to use them either.
Not only that, Hazard, the counter for Liza's ultimate, the lockdown, Hunter's Fury is available, so whether you're going to get the absolute value out of that is a big question mark.
Yes, Sonya just used hers to try and unlock the C site in the previous. A statistic to mention there would be the fact that she found 5 kills with her Hunter's Fury across the 3 maps that we saw played in uppers. Can definitely deliver impact with it. But again, situational at best. Elsie on a ridiculous off angle. The drone should be clearing this and will at long last.
He's able to get out. Whoa! Can't get any more off the back of that.
I mean, the first tag does connect, but it's forced Petite to be playing offside. So in terms of actually following up Elsie here, going to struggle. Jade will with her own ultimate. Staggered a little longer, but again, that counter utility is fantastic. Paranoia and a recon shuts them out. Lisa already beginning this flank.
Hazard, this is 4 ultimates that's been invested by
You're breaking the
Surrenders.
lockdown here as well.
Oh, that's incredible.
That's crazy.
Now, everything's falling apart here for the defensive side. They're trying to get back in as well, and you've also got to be worried about that KG, so things need to start moving quickly. At least you have the smokes to play off the back of, but some of them are going to start to drop pretty soon. The peek out from Super Frog, not traded. The rest of the bodies dropped down. That was a disaster for the defensive side, Hazard.
And a really well-called round by Beyblade Ninjas as well. They go for a dual-pronged attack with the knowledge of the lockdown in mind. I mean, the amount of ultimates that Surrenderers had coming into that, all wasted potential. You had to be considering them playing for a retake. So just by having someone late through B adds so much value to how you set up your attacker's side. As well, that counter utility to stop Jade finding value from her own Rolling Thunder has been a little bit gun-ho in these last couple. Trying to, you know, just fly in herself and make stuff happen. Gets punished for it that time around.
I think as well, though, it's maybe a good time that we stop and talk about the scoreline right now. Surrenderers already on 4, and if they find that 5th, then, I mean, is that enough?
Yeah, and I mean, look, they've been good on these pistols before. Slower start to the round from Beyblade Ninjas this time, but they have conceded A presence, and this was a big factor in the last couple of defaults that they were running when Surrenderers were able to make the most of the map control, gaining a lot of early material towards the right-hand side.
Ah, they're walking right into it as well.
It should be Jade playing the contact. Moshi with the first shot. They can't get this deep clear happening for them. And all of a sudden, Elsie's popped up with a Vandal in her hands. Jade, another kill from her on the aftershock, and the flash will add insult to injury. It's a thrifty round from Surrenderers. Beyblade going back to what maybe didn't work out the best for them prior. Surrenderers with the perfect remedy to make sure that it pans out for them.
This is incredible as well. Just for context, Beyblade Ninjas, when it came to timing out, the only time that they did it was something like the 11th round of a first half on Ascent in the upper bracket. They barely ever time out. Tico not like using them really pretty sparingly. And no wonder after a round like that, Surrenderers once again coming through with a thrifty, a pistol round when everything, the odds, stacked against them.
Again, it's the same as Surrenderers, to be honest, with Claudia. So we get a nice little replay package here of some of the rounds we've seen so far. It was these first couple where, you know, Beyblade Ninjas, they were going for the C hits. It was quite slow in terms of pacing. Surrenderers were getting a lot of value out of having some early A control, whether it was just one player and a rotate or whatever. It's the direct hits that looked that much better for them. And yeah, I mean, as you were saying, Surrenderers themselves, you don't see them call timeouts very often. Usually it's Jade, one here and there. Firm but fair was the assessment we used yesterday.
Yeah.
But nothing excessive. Just let them play nice, free, loose Valorant. And both of these teams seem to be adapting fairly well on the fly to kick things off.
Right there.
Yeah, Super Frog going for the heavy shields and blades, as well as a Sheriff, just in case those knives run out.
Dashing straight into short, trying to punish this A control that we were seeing. Nice early space that Beyblade Ninjas get off the back of this.
Oh, just get caught in the last second. And remember, those busts do a lot more damage, down to 70 HP. That's 2 Phantom bullets.
This is such a well-called timeout as well, because look at Lisa's position now. She's just going to sit in sewers, see if she can punish some kind of an overextension. You have the alarm bot, so you'll understand if someone's walking up long. The rest of the team can now begin to create pressure on C.
Well, the op knows that there's no information in mid, so it now starts to get to the point where you have to clear out A or react to the information on C. Now this is where it all comes down.
They need to expect the second player though, and Petite is playing the discipline. Down to a T, 2 players lined up, and even finds the third. A headshot for her. Surrenderers still able to overturn disaster after a brilliantly played opening round.
But not only that though, they've been able to react when the players are in A lobby. Look at the reaction, they're already ready for the retake.
Elsie's prepared to take down one of these players. Didn't quite spot Lisa, repositions close, finds the first and gets the second as well. A snapshot connected, knows about the default player and will take her time to climb down the stairs and find this fight. Picks up the Vandal, but Reyna times it to perfection. Beyblade Ninjas just about overcome, but it must be said, that was their round to lose.
That was their round to lose. And not only that, they've actually broken the buy of Surrenderers here, Hazza. So with that being said, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll be the next round that the buy is broken. But they're starting to really do damage to the Surrenderers economy. Jade even on towards a Guardian, prioritising that utility that she'll have to be using to set the rest of the team up. Already on 10 assists, by the way.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. 8 rounds played for those needing to keep count. Aggressive set play here from Surrenderers. We've seen it before. Should be the recon over the top, but instead Petite opts for the Hunter's Fury. Looking for tag damage and misplaced play as Elsie on the turnaround. Just so casual. Hang on, there's someone coming up behind me. Had the pantomime call in the back of her mind and finds the beginning kill, coming into the retake with a player advantage.
Super Frog's known about and they're getting spammed up. Can't escape. The rest of the players coming in. It's a wash of green. And look at this. Beyblade Ninjas beginning to drown. The spike at the back of sight and Liza nowhere near it.
Yeah, Surrender is putting on an absolute clinic in terms of being decisive on the retake and really forcing Beyblade Ninjas into making that execute happen. Again, we're seeing a lot of the pacing of these rounds be dictated by the lobby control, but now Lisa 1 versus 4 should be a done deal. Jade's already given the information to the rest of her team, and look, well, Elsie will make a meal of it. You can't complain after that first pick that she picked up.
And again, I have to talk about the score, Hazard. 6 and 3 Surrenderers have found. Half of the rounds that this half could be given, and I mean, usually you'd be happy with 4 Surrenderers. Absolutely buzzing with how they've played this half so far.
Yeah, I think we will have to see how it looks in the turn of the half, because for the most part, Surrenderers have looked better on their attack. But again, it's been one of those tale of two halves type affairs where both of these teams can be really patchy in terms of form. Like you say, those 6 rounds early will do a lot of good for them. Super Frog trying to create the opener, but Jade lines them up. They fall down like dominoes, and the B site doesn't seem to be under threat anytime soon.
Oh, I still don't know about more.
Hold the phone! Hold the phone. Sonya is on the line and she's dialed up 4 kills for her team. Can bring this into post, has a little bit of space. Hunter's Fury in pocket. Surely there isn't a chance here, Cairo.
I thought Elsie was about to go the wrong way towards A. That rotate being even longer, and Sonya's taking their time. Tap the spike, wants to peek.
Elsie's got to be sweating bullets, and look at the HP. It's not even looking too preferential for her either. Again, Sonya taps, but Elsie won't bite.
Revealing area.
Patience is unreal. Checking garage, thinks it can't be CT, gives it a once over. Doesn't want to commit, and that's what's going to be their undoing, Hazza. Not committing to the spike. 7-3 the scoreline. Advantage guaranteed for the defensive side. And Jade's even timing out off the back of it.
Yeah, the timing finally taken by Elsie. Holding her nerve and not cracking under the pressure. What a situation that they were put in. And again, like I said before, Jade, not often one to use these timeouts, but you can tell this will be simply a mental reset. Let's calm the nerves, guys. It's moments like that which can cost you, especially against a team of the quality that Beyblade Ninjas have.
I mean, I'm just wondering, like, what do you see as Beyblade Ninjas here? Because obviously they're in their own timeout as well. And just when you think things are starting to get good, they go all wrong. 2 rounds left to play in this half. Something to salvage. Don't get me wrong, I mean,
both, right?
Yeah, 100%.
It does feel like you need them both. LC, the youngster, clutching that one out. Very well played. Again, like I said, so easy to just overcommit to that. But again, it's the lack of commitment from Sonya, I think, which sold her short. Just drip-feeding information back. The recon garage as well. Either way, a nice attempt. But now Beyblade Ninjas need to get the most out of what they've got remaining. Lisa's ult will be coming up soon. Sonya with a Hunter's Fury. Options. Not exactly few and far between for them here. It seems to be another slow round. A 4-1 split. Utilizing Lisa's presence elsewhere on the map. So important into how they were able to get the first couple.
Already acting on the information, the contact taken.
Yeah. And it comes back to that little, like, meta game that we were seeing play towards A again. Elsie's got on the angle, she's got the operator. The rest are afforded to make this kind of a rotate.
Yeah.
You've got your Killjoy util there as well. I mean, Jade has the Rolling Thunder, so you can just pick and choose. Maybe you just need to create some pressure and raise some question marks.
Exactly, and there's no question marks at all. Elsie's feeding them, still no one outside A, still no someone outside A, you know?
Yeah.
And now this is where the contact comes through. A
This
trap
is-
playing garage.
Again, this is just so demanding as well of a player like Superfrog to be stepping into IGL and macroing something on this Haven attack side, which is why we've got to look at it being so important for them. But not too many rounds left to try and do that in now. The game is given up. It's LC's off against Superfrog on the dash in. She'll win out the first on the teammate. Looking to try and find the refrag, can't get it instead. Caught inside the ult, the retake happening early, but the spike far from being committed. And now Lisa's flank is shut down. 20 seconds left. You've got to do something here, Beyblade Ninjas. It may even be worthwhile to go for a save.
100% could be Hazard. Adora though finds the space at the front of C, but look at Surrenderos. They're lining up, queuing up, fighting, chomping at the bit to get onto site and get fighting.
They don't have to here though. They understand. No point forcing the issue. We can concede the spike plant. We have numbers to play with, and it's Beyblade Ninjas that want to put themselves on the front foot. Superfrog tries to do so and ends up falling.
This is really big utility as well. The players peek out and Mochiru swamps them down. 8 and 3. The gap growing and growing.
Yeah, Beyblade Ninjas felt like they ran out of options a little bit there. Could we be on for another 9-3 half, Cairo? We have seen so many of these throughout the last couple of days in the playoff stages. That's what I'm talking about when I say one-sided halves. The curse not coming to fruition on any of those occasions, important to add. So for all intents and purposes, this is, again, Surrender's map to lose. With it being their own pick as well, you've got to consider that fact. But yeah, even then, I've got to credit them for not just rushing into that retake. You have the numbers. No point in trying to force the issue and down the spike and end up losing.
I thought they were just going to go straight for it.
Yeah.
Take flight.
Again, Mochiru doing the jumps. I think they're going to be sacrificed here. Yep, there it is.
Crisp, clean lock from Sonya. Gets that one onto Mochiru. Opens things up, and they needed a little bit of this. Beyblade Ninjas, paranoia through. Frog's got to be careful about disrespecting this smoke, because there's 2 players inside ready for the pop-out.
Patience again. Jade though gets traded out. This is the first time we've seen a real advantage for Beyblade Ninjas in a while.
Looking to spiral it forwards, lockdown coming through. It is deep to the cubby, allows Petite to get out backside and include some of this utility, which can open things back up. Double swing coming in, and she'll take them both down. All on Lisa now to get them a 4th, which feels like a bare minimum at this point. Cloudburst, the spike not halved, health advantage to play around with, but it's Petite, the former Casa player on the opposite side, a well-known opponent and doctored in the clutch. Lisa administers a lethal dose, and that will be the 4th that they required.
It's not the best case scenario, but there is still life in the Beyblade Ninjas, has it? It is bleak. I won't lie to you. This pistol round has so much importance on it. You let surrenders hit 10. You know, you've got the bonus rounds. You've got a rifle round. So many opportunities to put Beyblade Ninjas to the sword. But how strong are they?
Yeah, I think this pistol round is so important to inspire some confidence for Beyblade Ninjas as well. The attack on this map as well, as I said before, always such a barometer. But now heading into this one, you've got to deal with surrenderers. And these slow-paced pistol rounds that they've shown a couple times, Beyblade Ninjas making the most of it by at least feeding Sonya one of those orbs.
That's a nice reclear, and the fact that so many players are off the back of it. They've caught out Super Frog, not quick enough, and look at the utility off the back of it. There's your entry. Elsie Frags picks it up.
And the position that Surrenderers have found this kill in as well means that there's no point overcommitting. You've still got over a minute left to play around with. Sow the seeds of doubt in your opponent's minds. If playing attack side Haven wasn't difficult, defenders even more so. Feels like sometimes, you know, the ideas you want to do will just fall into place, and it's easier to play off of one another, but here you've got to be a little proactive, and it's the proactivity which gets shut down. Stars a couple more. Surrenderers filling their boots with frags outside of A.
They make it look so easy, and it's just the patience again, Hazza, from them. How do you even fight back in? Liza and Adora.
Here.
Creating a tunnel through smokes.
Yeah, it has cut off Petite a little bit here, but has positioning to contact off of, and anyone who steps inside will be as good as dead. Flawless on the pistol, which the Ninjas really needed. Surrender is taking both of those now, so very early advantages that they're getting a lot out of.
Anti-eco. Let's be honest, Beyblade Ninjas.
Blade Babe Ninjas.
Blah, 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 blah.
Block Block Ninjas.
The blub blub.
Oh man. I'm just, like, honestly, again, this is just going to make me sound like a massive hater, but one of the benefits of not having Neon Blade in the final as well is it's not the clash of the blades again.
Yeah.
That one, mentally taxing, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Surrenderers could have added a couple of ERs, though. They could have made it even worse, so.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, it's not the worst, worst
No.
thing probably had to say.
I'm still a massive fan of Astra Commits Tax Fraud. Best game changer's name of a team that we've seen so far.
Yeah, that is a good one. I don't know, I always feel as if, I always like the mixed names, you know?
Yeah, there are some
Marlin.
good ones in there.
I've seen a team called the Marlin Randos.
The Marlin, man. Like the fish, the Marlin.
No, the Marlon Brando, the Marlon Randos.
Nemo's dad.
Yeah,
Marlin
we need to have a
as well.
chat.
Okay. Look, it's a very slow conversation here in terms of this round.
Yeah.
Beyblade gambling the C play. Turret contact on B can quickly collapse on it. A is the final decision made, so Beyblade Ninjas committing a little bit more to this, maybe even going for a mid-peak. Late information, Cairo.
Yeah.
30
It's going to be a late
seconds left.
fight in the end if it does culminate in that. A few times we've seen teams where they're happy to just let themselves die to the spike. Don't
Yeah.
think Beyblade Ninjas will do that though.
Coming into this next gun round then as well, double digits,
Spike
right?
planted.
How are we feeling about that one for Beyblade Ninjas? Because this one is already over.
Yeah.
One enemy
And it's going to
remaining.
look flawless as well, has it? There's players. Ooh,
Okay.
Okay.
Never mind. Sonya picks up a couple. Look, perhaps we were rude to have written her off there. And hey, building towards that ult already, okay? So now 2 off the Hunter's Fury. But in terms of giving stock to this one, I mean, 3 rifles for Surrenderers to work with. If you're Beyblade Ninjas here, what is it you need to be doing on your defense to stop Surrenderers from having the success that they have?
I feel as if like something that Surrenderers usually do is they clear everything together as a team.
Yeah.
I mean, you could eat. I feel as if they look at all the minor details. Surrenderers, they stun through. They make sure they're using their utility. And also on top of that, regenerative utility. And look at this. Here's an opportunity. Super Frog not being cleared on shot and could easily now start to feed off information and Beyblade Ninja stack the other side of the map.
Biggest issue is in respecting that recon. She's sort of had to concede a little bit more space towards long. You've already invested your drone to get that underway. Meanwhile, Surrenderers 10 steps ahead, already in garage, putting pressure on the backside of C. These players need to hold firm if there's any chance that Beyblade Ninjas take the round, and both of them fall. Super Frog hot on the scene, but can hear the site crumbling around her. A 4 versus 2. It's a gamble to make if you want to go for this one.
Can't use that yet.
And again, it's like the same kind of micro that we're seeing as well. Petite and Mosharu just baiting for each other in the corner.
It's not even that though, has is this a save? I would respect it if it is, because it's been such a slow attempt so far. There's so much utility being sent their way. Super Frog though finds an incision, and there's still utility being sent forward. Finally, it's up to Sonya.
Oh my god, Sonya.
Time?
2 huge kills, a third. I don't know that there's enough. She's not quite got it. Sonya's missed her opportunity. Beyblade Ninjas went for a Hail Mary right at the end and miss out by half a second. Again, it just felt non-committal in that retake, Cairo. We were saying, right, are you playing for a save? Are you looking for exits? They line up for Sonya. Surrender is perhaps a little overzealous in taking some of those peaks, but yeah, that's a real tough scenario, even from the 4 versus 2.
4 versus 2, that's why I was starting to put it that way. Is it going to be a save? Because I was expecting it to be. Obviously, as you say, you kind of have to gamble. Do you go or do you not after you get those 2 picks from Sonya? They do gamble, and unfortunately, it probably could cost them dearly in the end.
Here we go. Here is the ultimate committed again, but Sonya still yet to find more than just 1 pick from that Hunter's Fury at the start of the round. Do you know what I mean? The things that were going their way for them in the upper bracket semi and upper bracket final, I should say as well, not coming through this time around. Moshi already finding her first and calling over the rest of the team. Guys, I smell blood in the water on C, and it will continue to hemorrhage. Lee's are the next to fall.
Oh, I love this. Surrenderers just stop after they get the picks. They wait to see what Beyblade Ninjas want to do, and their reaction was to head towards C. Again, Surrenderers still playing this slow default, cooking their opponents, letting them sweat.
Going for the late B play. I mean, it's called B for a reason. It's never usually your first plan in a round. Surrenderers do have the util for it, but you've got to take the necessary space as well. Was looking like C-Link, LC perhaps just waiting for Jade to be back at her side. Nice bit of patience to re-clear this. It's Super Frog that will get tested.
He's been caught out on a timing as well. Sonya and Reina should know about the rest as they try to clear through mid, and look at already low on bullets.
Oh,
not low
huge
on
double
time.
from Reina. Yeah, but they haven't cleared Jade, and this is going to be the biggest issue because you can never forget about Jade in these kinds of positions. Reina on for a third, but the aftershock will make matters worse, and there she is again. The clock strikes 12, as does the round count. Surrenderers now putting Beyblade Ninjas on borrowed time. It's got to be 8 of the best that they can muster to force an OT on their own map pick. Or their opponent's map pick, I should say. You can see exactly why. Surrenderers just look so well prepared.
Has it. The clock might, or the round count might have struck 12, but this Cinderella story is still going. There's no glass slipper here to be picked up by a prince. The fairy tale does not end for Surrenderers here after their dream lower bracket run. Super Frog aggression down C long, but they've not cleared out Moshi. Still another player, they hear the footsteps and peeks out and collects. It's looking like it's going to be 13 right here, right now.
Again, Moshiru just lurking outside of C,
Oh!
being the worst nightmare. Adora, a couple of her own, but needs to get a whole lot more. And once more, you can't just be relying on these individuals as a stable win condition for Beyblade Ninjas, because it's a disjointed pack and an unprepared bunch that we've seen from them so far. Now a 2 versus 2. Lisa again trying to bring things back, but you're against the Astra and Killjoy. Util out the wazoo to be closing this one out.
Last player standing.
There we have it.
Enemy was punished.
Surrenderers take map number 1. Has a 13-4, and what a statement piece to come out the starting blocks.
That it is. I think a lot of it circles back to that defender's side that we saw at the start as well. I said on the desk, this is a map, and quite a few of the maps that we're going to see onwards from here, and I'm hoping it won't be a trend just for the sake of Beyblade Ninjas, is how both of these teams will approach their defender's half and how they try and look to play it. I don't think that Beyblade Ninjas really read into what the condition setups actually ended up looking like, and Surrender has just got so much value from really simple plays, posting up, you know, a solo player in short. There are a couple of times when we saw the counterplay come through, for example, like Super Frog dashing into sewers, posting up Lisa, or maybe even a late lurk when they knew that ultimates were online. But other than that, a very set list of denominations as to what it was that Surrenderers were trying to do in each round, a rough idea, and I think a lot of that as well will come from having your IGL in the server. Jade's impact shown again, not just through her fragging potential, but that calling as well.
Yeah, and I guess as the saving grace here is the next pick is that of Beyblade Ninjas. We are moving on towards Ascent, so that is a lot more known quality and quantity, and one that Beyblade Ninjas should be able to fight back in.
That it will. Well, that is all to be said from us here on the desk, I believe. We'll keep it concise, we'll keep it brief. We have plenty more maps to be getting through. Cairo, any closing thoughts before we throw it back to Twiggy and, more importantly, a break?
No, looking forward to this in.
Cool. Me too, mate. All right, with that being said, we're going to head to a short 2-minute break. When we return, we'll have Twiggy on the desk with us to help share some of their thoughts.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Lioness Cup, brought to you by Women in Esports. No trouble in paradise for Surrenderers as they take their map pick of Haven 13-4, a decisive victory. It never really looked out of their hands whatsoever, wasn't particularly a step mistaken, and for Beyblade Ninjas, not a lot to be happy about, guys.
No, there wasn't. And do you know what? Whether that's as a consequence of losing out Claudia, or whether that's because Surrenderers had such a key game plan, in fact, probably both, it's totally up to it's totally kind of, you know, one of those things. I think it has to be just like something that you like have like water off a duck's back. You don't think about it, you move on to Ascent, and that's where the focus is put.
For sure. Last time Beyblade Ninjas played this map was in the first round of the playoffs against Joker's Slay, and they won 13-8. It's been floated by them every time since. Now, as far as I understand, they have known that there may be problems with IGLing at some point in the future. Do you think that may have been a look forward for them and going, okay, I don't know if we're going to be as confident on this if we do make some changes to the team towards the end of the tournament? Obviously, things didn't look so cohesive for them, has it?
Yeah, I think in terms of like at least to call of individuals and role swaps, I didn't necessarily see any issues with that. Of course, the utility is not going to be the exact same. I think Reyna's a fantastic Omen player, so not necessarily wasted potential by having her on the breach there, but Adora filled in pretty good herself. It was more a case of like, yeah, the calling that you were talking about. It feels as if some of the reactive plays that they were making weren't anywhere near as strong. You don't have that same kind of setup in terms of protocols. And something else to call back to as well is the fact that even though both of these teams are mixes, Surrenderers in that lower bracket run, they've now played 2 more maps together as a unit than what we've seen from Beyblade Ninjas. I think that also additionally adds on to how much they trust one another, what they get out of Jade as an experienced individual being in the hot seat to make those kinds of decisions. And you can definitely see in terms of the setups, right? I feel like in tournaments like this, you build your strat book as a mix over the games that you end up playing. So by having more repetitions, it's certainly been a valuable thing for them.
For sure. While we can't say that, you know, being on that IGL role has affected the way that Superfrog is playing Duelist, it was not a stellar performance at the bottom of the leaderboard there, and we do have to touch on that really quick. Cairo, do you think that is kind of an overarching symptom of what is going on with the team right now? Obviously, you know, it's not like there was no impact whatsoever. Things did go well when they went well. It's just they never quite found their feet, I think. Do you think that is something that could be remedied later on?
I think it definitely could be, and I think as well a map to remedy it on is Ascent. I mean,
for sure,
it can't be stated enough how, I don't want to call it simple, but this is your bread and butter. Everybody should know how to mid-default to default with like the goal of ending A or the goal of ending B, whatever, and react off the information. This is like the simplest that it could be, and I think if we see Beyblade Ninjas lose here, that would spell to me doom.
Yeah, for sure. Hazard, do you think the same way about Ascent here?
No, I agree. And to come back to the point you were making about Superfrog as well, I think it's really tough for her. Like, you have to give her all the credit in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
There's like zero overlap really between being the duelist and being the IGL. You think about our 2 other IGLs, what role are they playing? Initiator. There's a reason for it, because when you are the person that makes it happen, you're calling in the info, right? And maybe you're on a Sova, for example, or even a KO, you can get, you know, you take the information yourself, you react off the back of it. Even as a breach, you've got the flashes, you've got the stuns. Okay, let's make this play. All right, I can actually just set that up myself. You take a lot more of the front lines in that kind of situation, but at the same time, it's a back seat. You're not relying on finding so many kills. Look, Superfrog, I don't think we ever had her down as being the person that you're expecting to drop 30 and win you a map. She is just trying to create the space for the rest of her team. But like even then, it's just so much labor on one person. I think to keep it simplistic, it's got to be the focus here for Ascent, right? Not try and overcomplicate things. Go for those direct hits in the early round on the attack. By the time you get to the defense, it'll sort itself out.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that teammates are going to need to step up more than they have over the course of the series. Obviously, I think, or over the course of the tournament so far, I think the thing is with this team is that they've never really had one person popping off every single time. You've always had, you know, Sonya very close to the top of the leaderboard. You've always had Lisa doing a lot of work on the Sentinel as well. I think this is one of the best equipped teams to be able to deal with changes to the IGL, being able to deal with maybe the duelist having to do more work, and then suddenly you've got to fill in more of that entry fragging role for them in case things go wrong. I think, you know, this is probably, it doesn't affect them as much as it might affect other teams. We don't know that, there's no way to know that, but I think when we move here onto Ascent, we will get a better idea of what their plan is to deal with the changes. Cairo, I don't really know what I'm asking here. Do you think that they are going to be able to cope with this one? Obviously, that was not a great map for them, but Haven was not their map pick. Ascent is.
Yeah, and again, it's more of the same of what we were talking about in terms of, like, everybody should know how to kind of do stuff, and it's just one of those. It's unfortunate the circumstances that you're dealt, that you've been dealt, and I think that the biggest thing is mentally how you deal with it, because at the same time, while we speak of Surrenderers in the way that they play the maps, in the way that Jade's been great at calling, they are still a mix. There is still gaps to be manipulated, and in that last map, there was chances in which it could have went either way. It's just the small details.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are a few moments where the difference between losing and winning the round for Beyblade Ninjas was a couple of milliseconds. For instance, Sonya's 1v3 at the end of one of those rounds where it was literally, 0.47 seconds left on the timer for that one. And I think there are so many opportunities like that for Beyblade Ninjas. I think there is something to grab a hold of. It's just now they need to switch the momentum back in their favor. Any closing thoughts before we head to the map?
I think, again, in terms of those individuals on the Beyblade side, it's not for me going to be about stepping up performance-wise, but again, just contributing some of those calls. We're not going to have the full picture of what it looks like inside the team speak, but you want to have one person who's like your secondary caller, just taking off a bit of that pressure from your duelist, so that I think Superfrog can perform to the extent in which we know she can.
All right, then we will see if that is the case. We're going to be heading to Ascent right here. Map 2, let's see. Can Beyblade Ninjas turn things back around? Take it away, Hazard and Cairo.
This would be the map to do it, Cairo. It is their own map pick. Ascent, of course, as well. Again, with the reps that these players have at the highest level of game changers in EMEA, it is something that they'll all be accustomed to at this point in time. Whether they can lift any of that from the page of their own personal strat books or not, though, and translate it to a team performance here is entirely a different question.
I mean, if you're sitting here and you are the Beyblade Ninjas, Hazard, there's one thing that has to be said. I think Ascent has featured in every single bar one of the series that they've played so far, so they should know how to play this. They should know exactly what the rollouts are, what they want to do, and how these plans formulate. As for Surrenderers, already played them twice on, or already played Beyblade Ninjas twice on this map, specifically winning one, losing one. You know what the winning formula is. You know exactly what Beyblade Ninjas can do to you. So let's see exactly what plans that they can formulate getting into this the second map with an advantage.
Yeah, they're going to be starting on that attacking side once again. So, I mean, pressure put on both teams in a way. I think the pistol rounds will play a big factor. This isn't something that we've talked extensively about, but in that last map, Surrenderers took them both. It's already half of the rounds required of you picked up in one fell swoop. So heading into this one, look, you gain any momentum on your attack side here with the slight defensive bias, and look, the importance that I placed on getting something going here for Surrenderers as well. This is a best of 5, Cairo. There's so much more Valorant to be played. Like you say, it does feel a little bit that if Beyblade Ninjas don't show up here, when do they? But it would be the place to start.
100%. I can't agree with you anymore, Hazard. This is the map to do it. You've got to do it, as we've said many times before.
And on this map a couple of times as well, you know?
Yeah.
It's
scary.
Yeah. Beyblade Ninjas trying to get back into this one. Surrenderers not quite out of the jungle just yet. The next of only 2 more Bush Tucker trials to be won. or Map Tucker Trials. I don't really know how you'd put it, but
Battle
I
Tucker
digress. Yeah. Beyblade Ninjas on the attack once more. Will they be razor sharp this time or blunted by surrenderers yet again?
This is a pistol round that we've seen many times from Beyblade Ninjas. Like this, wall, and they've really picked on now. Taken to the first picks.
Last
Look
player
at the stars
standing.
there.
Spike
It's
down.
gone
Defender
every
spawn.
which way, but the right way for surrenderers. And now Moshi running it down and doesn't even realise there's one. Yes.
Gets the flick, finds the kill, low HP, Liza able to get it done. Beyblade Ninjas started off well in that one, and look, a couple moments back and forth there. It was the melee out on one of the players. I know that the Ruined King sword does appear to be incredibly long, but not long enough to stab anyone from that kind of distance. And yeah, Jade caught with util out. A very messy one, I think it's fair to say, for both teams, but Beyblade Ninjas will not be complaining about that one whatsoever. They get the pistol and they let it rip.
You're never gonna not use that.
It had to be used at one point, man. It really, really did.
For
Hey,
this,
there you go. It was Reyna. There's the sword.
yeah. I was gonna say for the bonus round, there's also what 2 bulldogs and 3 like vandals. So with that being said, if this ends up being flawless, the kind of snowball effect that you can have off the back of that bonus round cannot be understated.
Exactly. I mean, we've seen a couple thrifties in this one already. Jade on the Sheriff, getting ready. Pinged out, forced to retreat. No information on the second player here. It is the stack on A, of course. So Beyblade Ninjas just taking their time, due diligence on their behalf to make sure they're not going to be walking into trouble anytime soon.
Also on top of that, there's been no plans formulated off the back of what's been happening from surrenderers. Usually that's typically what we see. Oh no, Moshi missing the shots. Can't quite connect, and a little bit of panic from Liza.
30 seconds left.
Look at the reaction, Hazza. Look at the
Yeah,
reaction.
surrenderers are going to be here. They've got a flank coming in as well. Lisa needs to keep this alarm bot up because it could spell
Spike
trouble.
planted.
It's been taken down. They know about these players. Sonya on the double up in wine, getting ready to take the peek in and winning out the fights. 4 versus 2 should be able to keep their clutches on this one for the time being, and more importantly, keep those weapons for the next round.
One enemy remaining.
There it is. We were talking about Super Frog, their impact they had in the last game. Well, they're certainly impacting a lot of the first 2 rounds here. And as for that bonus, it is a beefy one, Hazza.
Placing alarm bot.
And I think this is like such a stark contrast as well to the last map
Yes.
again. I'm just talking about like taking some of the pressure off of Super Frog here. First 3 rounds played in the previous, she was 0-3. Here she's 3-1. Given a little bit more freedom, perhaps even just the map choice and feeling comfortable on this jet pick. Warming up, easing into the game, Lisa as well. These are the 2 players you're always looking at on the Beyblade Ninja side at making those problems. And again, set play out on towards Switch. Nano is there adjusted for her, and the reveal also looks to be incredibly dangerous. Finally, Stars gets the punish.
Yeah, that's 2 big punishes off the back of that. Just smoke. And your jet, here we go. Elsie frags! And so do the rest of Surrenderers. Completely shut down what was a very dangerous round for them. And now they go up again against 5 rifles.
Yeah, Surrenderers chiming in with a round when we expected of them. Nicely done. Stars with the setup utility, and it's stuff like this when I'm saying that you're seeing the set executes come out from Beyblade Ninjas, that you can read into it a little bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, soon enough we see an updraft dash play, whether that's over the top of the roof of Switch here, whether that's over the initial half wall
There they are.
that you get in A main. To kick this one off though, it's a much more split default. Neither team really extensively fighting the mid position.
I love this. Jade's been baiting for Elsie just tucked. You don't realise.
Interesting that we see a dark cover come out in B main there for Surrenderers as Superfrog finds the first pick on A, because you would be using the turret contact really to get your Odin spam coming through. They're actually rotating off because of this, and Surrenderers aren't making a decision about how they want to play this defense either. They're not re-clearing A main, and they're not forcing the issue of mid, so this is really, really well read by Beyblade Ninjas if they commit to the B play now. Incredibly cautious about it though. That's a very deep drone to start things off.
Yeah, and with the turret being destroyed, the key util still being up, Beyblade Ninjas will be wary of that. They'll be making sure to check that back side as the nanos are popped. Oh.
Yeah, but Superfrog is all the way in
No
and hoarding
way.
these kills. 3 for her, back-to-back rounds. Brilliant stuff by the Swedish duelist, and now it's a 4 versus 2. Beyblade Ninjas have the setup in the site. They should be prepared for the Surrenderers push, and in terms of utility, what has Jade got left? It is a flash and the knife just waiting to come back online. Cheers, Mel.
You've also got the turret as well, so that'll be able to hold down one lane in case one player's there after that smoke drops.
Yeah.
But I think they're just playing for exits, Hazza.
I think
Happy
you have to
hold
be.
this cross.
It's exactly what they're going to do. And the flash is ready for it, so we do see it used. Holding the players back by the scruff of the neck. Here is Stars for a couple of kills. Jade might even find 2 more. She does. The slate wiped clean by Surrenderers. They don't take the round, but Beyblade Ninjas survive with nothing.
Again, keeping it expensive, keeping the economy interesting. I wouldn't even hate Hazza if Surrenderers forced back into this, and that's exactly the case. Even on Odin being bought up by Petit. So this is not a bad buy, to be honest, to be going up against your opponents. Superfrog filling in the gaps with those blades. And you've also got a lockdown to play with.
Yeah, wondering how it gets implemented. Jade one away from a null command as well, and here we go. It's the 0 point instead. As the knives clash, sparks fly, and Beyblade Ninjas can't quite ignite off the back of the early spark that they were looking for. Superfrog is who I'm talking about, of course. Finally, the util invested and the set play prepared. Paranoia shutting things down. Moshi keeping them at arm's length. It's Jade instead that finds a couple of her own. It is a whitewash on this A execute, Cairo.
Yeah, it truly is. The players kind of hoping that they can take fright. I mean, I hate to pull up previous comparisons, Hazza, but if that was Claudia, most of those players would have been flashed. In fact, actually, on top of that, one of the players were flashed. They just weren't able to capitalise off the back of it. Jade just doing so well, holding down from Generator.
Yeah, it looked like Adora was a little slow on the pace there with the shrouded step behind Superfrog, because you see sometimes your jet player will dash into their own smoke and it gives a window for the Omen to join them with a TP of their own.
Yeah.
But it was a bit staggered, allowed Jade to get 2. And already the rotate had been called. One of the issues with playing these more simplistic rounds is that the read is that much easier for Surrenderers when you're not making those question marks.
Oh, Petit's found a player in B main, that being Liza, flanks down, and there goes Sonya as well. Jade's wary about market.
Moshi committed the TP behind them, compressing, compounding from all ends. Surrenderers forcing Beyblade Ninjas into submission on this one. Recon coming in. Reyna's going to be walking into the open for a potential spam, but Stars missing positioning on that occasion. Elsie won't. She don't miss from those kinds of situations. Neither does Adora. Nice little headshot out the Sheriff, but again, little to be said about that round from the Beyblade Ninjas perspective. It was an eco, and look, 3-3 right now, a status of equilibrium, not too bad. You really want to be finding a couple more though coming into your defense.
Yeah, you really do. I think on top of that, we're now starting to see Surrenderers understand Beyblade Ninja's game plan, which I think is worrying. The read is starting to get better and better as the rounds go on.
Yeah. They are going to recommit to this A hit though. Another 4-1 split. Lisa just hanging away from the rest of them. Slow in pace, however. It's a TQ. Or not, sorry. It's a Vision Strikers that we see pulled out. Elsie profits off it. Yeah, Jade's going to go down in mid trying to follow up that play. But more importantly, the reaction is the A site taken, and Frog can punish Petite here as well, but she won't. The Odin wins out this time around.
Spike planted.
Yeah, that could be a disaster in the end, given the advantage to Surrenderers who have ultimates to use, most notably, again, that lockdown.
Stars is playing off the back of this flash. Instead, it's the paranoia that gets the work done. Sleeves rolled up and no grudges held. Stars indiscriminate. Everyone catching a bit of flack there. 4-3. And in the retake, Cairo, Surrenderers not losing a single player.
Again, fantastic.
My ult is ready.
It all comes down from just team play, simple stuff. Playing off the back, Stars, again, I can't state it enough, every single time, the patience is commendable from these players. Elsie dabbling with the thought of an operator, but I think it might just be the, oh no, there is.
Yeah, I think Stars is a player who sort of goes under the radar quite a bit, but every now and then can chip in with a crazy individual performance. I think that's always to be the case as the Sentinel, right? You're either pulling all the strings or, you know, taking a backseat to the entirety of the affair.
Yeah.
Been a good day out for her so far, though.
I was going to say, who do you...
City Walk veteran.
Right here.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, who do you think Stars would choose as the best Scottish player, Jade or Smile?
Interesting question. I have absolutely no idea.
Just a joke.
I think that's something you ask in an interview, but anyway, Elsie asking the early questions, opening proceedings. It's a shot which lands in the chest of Adora, which means there are no smokes now, no guys to which Beyblade Ninjas can sit behind. Elsie does get taken down. That's a ridiculous shot from Reyna, by the way. Just beating out an op with a Sheriff at that kind of range. There's still less than a minute left and decisions to be made. Sonya can give them an option here, and it's a B1 which they should really be expanding upon.
Yeah, I think what Sonya's just done is put a scalp underneath the nail. Oh my lord! What?
Lisa in the shooting gallery. The Guardian sings, and Beyblade Ninjas happy with that one. They're all ears to what it is that she has to say. Oh my goodness. The short peek coming in, I mean, that's the rationale after you lose your B players, right? You're just trying to catch someone in mid, but Lisa cannot be caught. She evades all. That's a fourth. Beyblade Ninjas look already, they've done such great work on this attacker side. I think part of the reason why we've been critical of them is not only have we come to expect, you know, so much, that they should really be getting loads done now. You're tied 4-4 and Surrender is on the brink of losing these guns.
Exactly. Ah, they're sending it straight in, and it's very, very easily read. The unfortunate thing is Jade just misses out on the opportunity. Elsie from top finishes off Liza. We're still in a technical 4 versus 3, but Jade is down. There we have it. Advantage taken.
Shock dart.
Spike only just getting planted by Reyna. Odin in play, 3 versus 2. Lisa gets one back onto Jade. Not the first time she's fallen in this kind of a situation, but when it comes down to the rest of the team, a well-oiled machine. Beyblade Ninjas again bringing it to post, but Surrenderers in these retakes have looked infallible.
Has it? I mean, one thing that has to be said, Surrenderers are not sparing on the ultimates at all.
No.
Happily to push everything towards getting the round done, but the only issue with that being said is now if Beyblade Ninjas manage their ultimate economy better, they've got potentially 3 rounds of 3-round winning ultimates just stockpiled.
Yeah, I'm wondering what it is as well that was the reason that Beyblade Ninjas were so staggered in that last round, because you saw Super Frog dashed all the way to the back of site and Gen, took the kill, had the recon for it as well, but then the rest of the team weren't even out the choke by the time Jade has peaked short. So I guess perhaps it's part of what the set play looks like, and again, Frog good for one. But yeah, Moshi does trade, and they are not going to be going for anything here. Drone strike coming in, and actually past where the alarm bot is.
Elsie being caught out by the drone is going to be big because that's alleviated all of mid. The op gone off the back of it, and now Surrenderers don't know what's going on there with that smoke dropped. Players starting to culminate outside of A. You've got a late win condition and Lisa to come through.
Yeah, this is how Beyblade Ninjas should be playing. You know, Frog gives you the early space, Lisa is there. Surrenderers have gambled correctly though. They'll be prepared for the A hit. What can they find from it? The answer, absolutely everything. And look at that, Elsie, a swivel of the head, looks to the HUD, knows that it's the Killjoy, expectant of the player in through short, and finishes things off with a ribbon on top. 6 now for Surrenderers. Beyblade Ninjas not quite able to get over that final hurdle and, you know, really stick it to them, put them in trouble. They're still getting these investments. It's an Odin and an Operator around the edges, all the trimmings.
You would, is on top of that, Hazza, I think as well. I've just had a complete brain fart. My point
Nice.
I was going to make is just completely gone.
Honestly, I'm thankful, you know, it's not the first time I'll say I'm thankful I'm not in Scotland because I can't smell it here either, so.
Poor.
But look, Elsie wafts another one away. Frog gone. Reyna the next to fall in line. Util to the corner. Sonya forced to peek. Hands tied. And Jade burying him. 4 versus 2, Cairo. It's only been 30 seconds.
Does Adora even want to take this peek? Look at this. They're all starting to swivel round, swirl round Adora, and will find that they know exactly where Liza has been.
Yeah.
And the difference between last round and this, last round was extremely well called, just couldn't get the final mark. As for this round, Hazza, it's been, again, a disaster.
Yeah, look, you were droning into mid, tagging the player, you've got the recon, right? Anything to flush Elsie off the angle. The fact that Petit is just walking out tiles with an Odin in hand with that much confidence and swagger says a lot about how Surrenderers are feeling here. Look, it wasn't maybe the strongest of buys. Frog won from the blade, spies up the heavy shields, and you've got a set of rifles. By all accounts, delivering a 5th here for Beyblade Ninjas is a profitable half, to say the least. However, Elsie on this op right now, 14-4, doing God's work for Surrenderers.
Oh, they've dropped themselves a rifle as well, so if worst comes to worst, they can quickly get onto that. Been able to take the shorter range, close quarter combat. The patience from Beyblade Ninjas, and again, a lot more puggy in the way that they're just starting to group up and play together.
Surrenderers have to be expecting this. Bucky, if she needs it, it is of course the Puffy Fish classic. Moshi tucked in the corner, was considering sitting inside the ult and using her own, but doesn't happen, taken down, and while Moshiru rhymes with good for 2, she gets nothing here.
Here the Super Frog, that's tough. Here we have it, the Hunter's Fury invested in Liza. Well, as Elsie's pushed out, collects, and they're collecting every head that comes their way. 2 players left though, what can they do?
Yeah, Reyna's doing a brilliant job at just holding it down. Petit, a juggling act to pick up a weapon, which she's satisfied with. Reyna, another, and the double or even triple face into the LMG is always going to spell out a Beyblade Ninjas victory. So they find the 5th eventually, and I'll tell you what, Cairo, that does bode well for this second half.
It does bode well for the second half. I'm looking at this and thinking to myself, this is actually not too bad for either team. 7-5 is what we would expect. Naturally, on an ascent, just that slight defender bias. And on top of that, I think, if anything, that last half was just Beyblade Ninjas weren't able to get more. It was a wasted opportunity.
That's same for Surrenderers even, I think you could say too. Once they hit form, you know, nothing was stopping them, but they did also lose the pistol anti-eco as well, so you know, the buffer that we see between the 2 teams currently is just the difference of that pistol. This one, the ramifications just as pressing as the previous.
Again, typical of Surrenderers.
Trademark.
Just sitting, chilling.
Waiting for an overstep. It must be said, in terms of oversteps that we saw actually, I think, you know, Superfrog was able to get a bit of value out of it, but if you didn't tell me what the name of either player was, I may have even guessed it the opposite way round. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Contact being taken. 2 players on showing on A main.
Sonya releasing the shock dart from its bolt just as the 0 point comes in, and they are underway. Elsie a little less used to the dash switch perhaps than her opponent.
Ooh.
Jade, however, finding the opening pick. Sonya needs to get something, but it's nothing that'll come for her, and Superfrog caught in,
Planted.
blindsided by it all. Out in no man's land now, a 5 versus 2 for this pistol to go the way of Beyblade Ninjas. And it's just not happening, Cairo. It's just not happening at all.
Even that round there was uncharacteristic of Sonya and Liza's backside hold from what we've saw of it so many times. Usually they go straight towards backside, and for some reason Liza flicked away from where the players were coming out of, caught off guard, you know.
Yeah.
Usually that is a guarantee 1 or 2 kills.
I mean, Superfrog on the Sheriff there as well is just trying to chime in, just get something done in stairs, but you know, ultimately expect her teammates to outlast that position a little bit longer, right? Because there shouldn't be players collapsing her from the site as well. It ends up happening. This is something that Beyblade Ninjas and Superfrog specifically was speaking about in that upper bracket game or afterwards, right? That the backside positioning that their opponent was using was making life a lot more difficult. So, I mean, even there, the adaptation is correct. It's just not the fights won out.
Didn't catch anybody there either. Players maybe worried that sight's a bit clear. And you've got
Good
to be
read from
looking at
Beyblade
Sonya.
Ninjas. Yeah, Sonya has taken this advanced positioning off of that early clear. I mean, you get 1 here, I think you're happy.
I don't even think you're going to be
Yeah,
able
you're
to
not
get
getting
that.
anything done here anymore, I don't think. Sorry. You miss. If you don't chain those shorty shots together, it's not going to happen. Elsie is low, and, well, Frog can finish off.
Exactly. And that's an ultimate point towards what is now 8 for the Blades. I don't think it will mean much in the end, maybe for the later rounds. There's just so much delay again. Spike planted, ticking away on that time, and they're all coming out of CT.
Enemy remaining.
It's so characteristic from Surrenderers once more. These slow early rounds, and when they come into post-plant, always on the offense, looking to push a high line, set up crossfires, punish players on the way back through. They do a brilliant job against the eco round there, of course.
Yes.
Now it's the gun buy. What can you offer? 2 Bulldogs, Vandal, Guardian, Jade in the mix with a Spectre, but selfless as she is, happy to make the concession.
Yeah, we'll have to see it. And I think as well, like Spectre on Ascent, there's some close quarter angles that can really make it worthy of a real good weapon. Ooh, nice timing from Superfrog. A little bit of an off angle.
Yeah. Mosharu just watching over the deceased. Stars walking up short. Surrender is not giving up on this yet. They've already managed to take so much space. By Beyblade Ninjas going for these backside holds, it means that you're conceding a lot of that neutral ground. So Surrenderers can raise a lot of question marks here. They're just freezing, cutting noise, waiting for the time to be right in this regroup shot.
They've traded out Superfrog, which is nice. They'll be able to pick up that upgrade, and now Beyblade Ninjas is completely turned on their head. Where have Surrenderers going? What are they planning? Are they in heaven? Are they not? They would have not heard the glass being breaking, but they'll heard the heads being cracked on, eh? Spike is down though for Moshi.
Yeah, there's stuff I want to talk
30
about
seconds
after the
left.
round here, but for now, Mosharu's got to make magic happen, and she can't. To just go back, Cairo, there, I really don't understand the decision to push spawn. Beyblade Ninjas are going to have that information. They're cognizant of it. They'll be checking it. I understand as well, you know, not wanting to give away the information that you're going to wrap heaven. But, you know, you can break glass, maybe. You can push, you know the player's a sight. You collapse Mosharu from the choke. Maybe even you drop a smoke towards CT to make it more difficult. There are ways that that can be played, and I just don't think that Surrender has made the right call there.
I agree. I actually think that was going to be my point. Why not just drop a smoke towards spawn? I mean, even if it gives away Mosh's position, but even at that, I don't think it would.
Yeah, or the heaven jump up, right?
Yeah.
A little less concerning in terms of risks. Turret's traded. Look how forward thinking this is on the Beyblade Ninjas side. Recon as well to confirm, and Super Frog sharp as ever. Mosharu, good for 2. Finding the 2 kills outside of A. That is the site control now theirs.
Yeah, and on top of that, Hazza, after, like, Surrenderers know, after that pick's taken in mid, they try to clear out what would be the weaker of the push. And just completely wipe them out. Spike ticking away, and now Beyblade Ninjas, they're having to clear everything.
Terminated.
Nice shot from Stars in mid. Super Frog down and out of this one. Liza and Sonya, the final remaining players, and they're going to call this save early, which I can only sit and respect, because honestly I don't think we've seen enough teams opting into save calls so far this tournament. They have been very happy to just run it down and lose any extra weaponry which could be looked to galvanize the follow-up. Surrenderers know this though, and I think Stars may just be falling in this situation. That she will. So a singular exit for Lisa and 2 weapons to keep onto the next.
Swarm grenade out.
Yeah.
Everyone's tech still working? Double
I
check
mean,
it, please.
we're not asking for everybody to go for the percentage play, you know? Save every time, but sometimes it's when it's called. 16 and 10 for Lisa is incredible, and still to find themselves with only 6 rounds. Super Frog as well, been really starting to light up the kill feed on the defence. Just a plunge that slight bit better. Lockdown now for Surrenderers to have something to be a catalyst for a push or an execute.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking here at the last time Surrenderers played Ascent. It was against Beyblade Ninjas. They lost that 13-7. A lot of that does as well stem from the attack side and struggling to get more out of it. Adora not fully cleared, entirely overlooked. 3 headshots! What is that, Adora? 3 kills to match! And a 3 versus 2 for the Ninjas. Make that 3 versus 1. Petit is done, as is the round. They will continue to close that gap.
I can't believe that. I cannot believe what's just occurred. Surrenderers did everything to the right degree except check if Adora had gone. Yeah. That's literally the only thing that was missed here.
The fragment missed as well. And that, I think that's the reason why they overlooked it. Jade, a little bit of misplaced utility. Again, you know, this team very trusting of her judgment. But look, small mistakes like that can come to cost you, and it has paved the way back into this for Beyblade Ninjas. 3 rounds now, the difference.
Shrouded step for a fragment, you'll take that. Big bit of util off the boards.
Yeah, it is the null command coming in though. The owl drone to open, things kicked off, paranoia through. Elsie has the info, takes it in tow, and the kill's also picked up. Lisa for 1, a 2 versus 2. Even footing, neither team quite in front. Super Frog willing to take the timing. A gamble, a big roll of the dice, ends up blinded. But no pie on her face right now. Not punished in that position. The lockdown will go off, and Surrenderers can restore order for a moment.
But Hazard, the Beyblade Ninjas don't know if Surrenderers taken extra space, and look at how slow they are coming back in.
They would know that if any space had been taken, it would be towards heaven, so at least understanding that fact, they can posture correctly for these fights. Stars will know all about the position of Frog as the smoke goes down, so will the round. Surrenderers playing through their numbers, trading off of one another, keeping themselves in it against the grain. And 11th now almost breaking the back of this defender-sided economy. It can just about hang on for one more, but even then it feels like a half chance at best.
I don't even know if it's a half chance, Hazard, because you've got ultimates, lockdown, Hunter's Fury. Beyblade Ninjas certainly have the tools that they need to get this over the line. The only thing I worry about is what's missing with this buy.
Yeah, the Guardians can make light work of it, and look again, Surrender is gifting all the room in the world. Sat back in the trench of their own, scoped in, waiting for something to happen. Feeling absolutely no responsibility for setting the pace here. Frog out and the timing's crazy. I think we're about to see the peak, and we do. It comes in exactly when needed. Surrenderers almost off by the second. They were counting down, looking for that opener. Come straight into their crosshairs.
Scanning ahead. Take flight.
Ah, they're being called back. The Beyblade Ninjas players on the B side are being called back. They've got the angles to hold as well, Hazard.
Yeah, they're prepared, right? There are 3 players here. Majority of the squad.
30 seconds left.
Their feet firmly planted for the B execute. Elsie coming in, will have info from the knife, knows about the stairs player, but it's lane that's yet to be dealt with. Reina finding 2 kills. But 2 kills, still not enough. Surrenderers can find a couple of their own, and that makes all the difference from the advantage that they had.
Ooh.
Sonya on a tag, they nearly line up. It was almost a multi, but the spike has been planted. And now Beyblade Ninjas have got to be up to this task. They have to.
The worrying thing here is, Hazard, if you use the lockdown, look where Elsie is.
A market reposition. Jade taking the contact. Here's the steps. It all funnels back. It all circles into play. Elsie continuing that creep on forwards and will just about catch Sonya, so they at very least know that she's in the sight. Jade's chopped all the way back to Boathouse. The cavalry needs to arrive, or perhaps it matters not. It's an open plant after all, and Elsie's taken 4 down with her. Number 12 for Surrenderers. Opponent's pick. 2-0 up in the series means they only need another map to win the best of 5.
It's incredible that after the first 2 maps, this is where we end up. Hazard, in a situation, what a time to do it. On Ascent, your opponent's pick, one which Beyblade Ninjas have looked indomitable on. I can't believe it.
Get out of my way.
Mixed weaponry now into the next as well. Surrenderers again, just in these post plants. Like a pack of piranhas, they'll continue to swarm and take those timings, look for ways to give themselves further advantages when they already have them. It's a 3 versus 2. How many teams would just sit on site there?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the presence of mind that you're low HP to go for something a little extra, or at least give yourself the advantage of positioning. But now you're up against a set of sheriffs. Sonya has to be the ace in the hole. Win out in spades from the corner if Frog can't do it for them.
And that was the rifle as well as Sonya's gone. Just an upgrade for Elsie. And here we have it, the Hunter's Fury firing off those bolts! And Elsie firing off those blades! We're down to a 4 versus 2. That lockdown needs to be used by now.
Spike planted.
I mean, it has to, right? There's absolutely no other time. Playing for your lives in a map of your choosing. And what comes up next? Sunset. Where do we put the bar? Right now, it's being raised consistently by Surrenderers, and they raise the stakes, they take the fight, and they win them out. Of course they do. 13-7 was the scoreline before when these teams played, but the script is flipped. On the grand final, Surrenderers take it.
Fantastically played, Hazard. We started to see signs of the old Beyblade Ninjas, but in the end, it was only signs. There was no concrete answers to what Surrenderers were doing, and in the end, they take it. It's now 2-0 in this best of 5. One more map is needed for Surrenderers to close this out.
Yeah, this is crazy, honestly. I mean, Claudia, I don't think we can understate how exactly
Yes.
her missing from this team is going to make a difference to how this one plays. But even to go so far as to say that, I think we still had expectations for the remainder of this Beyblade roster, with role shift and the like coming to mind as well. But yeah, I'm almost left speechless after that one. Surrenderers played it really well. I think the defenders' side certainly helped them out. The fact that Beyblade Ninjas maybe didn't get more from their attack, considering previous track records, is something to go off. But now it's a real uphill battle. You've got to win 3 maps, and it starts with Sunset.
Yeah, exactly. And well, as for Sunset Hazza, we've got to introduce the main person, the host, Twiggy, to come back in. So with that being said, we're going to take a quick break, get them back in. We'll discuss everything that's happened in this second map and get ready for the third.
One enemy. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy.
Hello, Billy Purdy here, Project Development Lead at British Esports, as well as manager of the Women in Esports initiative. Some of you might know me as Billy IDK, and I've been fortunate enough to be on the VCT Game Changers desk and Contenders desk throughout the season this year. It's been such an amazing year for Game Changers, and I feel as though Lioness Cup has really brought a lot of different players together to showcase the talent that we have here in EMEA. I won't take up too much time on the broadcast to ensure that we can get back to our very professional casters and host, but I just wanted to jump on and share that Women in Esports is very much committed to creating an environment where individuals feel safe, feel respected and feel empowered to succeed, and we aim to do that going into 2024 and beyond. A huge shout out to all of the teams that have participated in the tournament. Massive thank you to Riot as well for allowing us to run this as an off-season event, and a huge thank you to both our off-screen and on-screen talent who have done an excellent job in being able to develop the storylines throughout. Last message really from me is just best of luck to the remaining teams. I can't wait to see which two make it to the grand final. It's been such an amazing event to prep and gear up for Game Changers Championships. Best of luck, guys.
Why, thank you very much, Billy, and welcome back to the Lioness Cup, brought to you by Women in Esports here. A tough situation just gets tougher for Beyblade Ninjas. Surrenderers are now one map away from winning the whole tournament, and I mean, it seems as if they've really grasped their good fortune in a way with both hands. It's not even like we can go, oh, you know, it's an unfortunate situation for Beyblade Ninjas and that's why this is happening. No, they seem to be really on their game right now, wouldn't you say, Kara?
Yeah, it's been one of those. It's been a case of that. Again, we saw Beyblade Ninjas kind of showing what qualities they do have, but not consistently enough. And again, Claudia's missing. It's heartbreaking. We understand that, but we have to analyse the situation, what they're dealt, and what's been shown. And quite simply, it's not enough.
For sure, has the same kind of thoughts going into that.
Yeah, I think we can't exactly detract any value here from Surrenderers and the performance that they've delivered, because it has been very attuned with what was expected of them coming into this one. It would have been nice to see that Claudia version of Beyblade Ninjas, because right now it's feeling like a lackluster performance from them. But even on a map like Ascent, for example, we saw Surrenderers beat Beyblade Ninjas here before in the Swiss system. They've proven it again that it wasn't a one-off, and that they have a real understanding mixed in with some strong individuals to be pulling out these kinds of results. And now it's an uphill battle, right? You've got to win 3 maps in a row if you want to stop them from taking the cup.
Yeah, and speaking of which, it is Sunset up next. It's not really a map which Beyblade Ninjas have a lot of experience with, especially from what we've seen in Lioness Cup. It's a scary prospect for them, isn't it?
Yeah, it truly is. This is where, again, we were already speaking about it. If we get to Ascent and Surrenderers win it out, it starts to get a little bit worrying. We start to really understand the kind of lay of the land. Moving into what is truly a Surrenderers pick, I don't see this going any other way.
Okay, for one moment as well, let's talk about some of the standouts from the last map. I think one that we just have to note there with 23 kills is Elsie really going in on this so far. 100% a killer performance. Do you think this is going to keep on going? I think obviously, you know, it seems to have just been ramping up, and I think the confidence is building now at the very least for Surrenderers. What do you think this next map is going to look like from them?
For Elsie, I'm not too sure, but something I can say about her game generally is that I've been surprisingly impressed by this tournament from her. I think, you know, not only does she look confident, but she looks calculated at the same time. She's not really making some of the error-prone mistakes that some people would have expected from her, being such a young player. But no, she's fit well. I think she's taken up the responsibilities of the duelist brilliantly. Coming into this next map, it's still a lot required of her. You know, it's not done. This isn't a map which you would consider to be their primary pick, but we'll just have to see how it goes.
All right, then, Sunset up next, and this could be the end for Beyblade Ninjas. It could be Surrenderers taking it away right here, right now. Nice, very good, Prod. That's actually brilliant. Okay, I will leave you guys to it. Have a good time.
Yeah, no Sunset graphics pack fly-throughs available just yet, but you have to give a shout out to our observer, Peak, Brad, whatever you want to call him, man in your ear, to have at least given us confidence that we are heading into Sunset, and not to split, which would be the 5th and final map if we end up getting that far.
Yeah, I think that something that's interesting about this, Hazza, is if we didn't have that bottom graphic, the agents wouldn't even tell you that it's a not split, because these comps could... these comps are very split-esque, and I think that kind of shows you how Sunset plays out. The way that mid, realistically, there's a lot you can do with it. You can go directly onto site through the mains. I think that's generally how we're starting to see the map play out amongst all the teams.
Yeah, 100%. I think, you know, while there will be some slight compositional differences to split, you know, namely these fade picks, yeah, both of these teams opting into the same set of 5. So I am interested to see how exactly this one is going to work out for them. And yeah, there you go. Just to confirm, it is Sunset that we will be heading to. But in terms of individuals and making comparisons here, Cairo, I don't know. Are there any 2 players that you really want to highlight heading into this one?
Honestly, I know that you were kind of speaking about I think it was what Liza and Stars kind of before we were talking in the call, but for me, one thing that I wanted to talk about was actually Sonya versus oh my god, I'm having a brain fart. Sonya versus Petite, because both of them have been having massive impact so far.
Yeah, they have. I think there's not too much to be said in terms of one besting the other in that regard, but I suppose something you could say is, what does the supportive utility look like? Because both of these players equally capable of making something happen by themselves. How does that then tie into the rest of this team dynamic and this bigger picture that they're trying to build? Both teams double initiator. Adora and Jade is another matchup I really want to look at, because while it is the substitute, you're going head to head against a player who, you know, on her role and Breach specifically, has been the best player in the tournament so far in my eyes.
Characteristic once again coming through. The pistol round, wait.
It does surprise me a little bit that Beyblade Ninjas haven't tried to be a little bit more proactive in some of these pistol rounds. You know, just with the knowledge that this is how Surrenderers like to try and play. Prowler gains information that they are quite deep outside the garage, but still no peeks taken.
Nice stuns, got a lot. 2 of the players, majority that are on A. And they're going for that replay. That's one of the flashpoints used up. There won't be a lot of them in this round. And Jade's actually going down just to hold things down. Make sure that they're not pushing too far.
Yeah, I think both of these teams have bought each other's attention, right? Piqued their interest, because this is space which you were considering either to have given up or called a rotate off of, but instead, finally, we see the reaction made. And because 3 players have been noticed with the Fade, the Breach, and the Omen utility, they've circled in through top mid, so there's a crunch coming in out of Boba, and Surrenderers brilliantly take the B site.
Yeah, again, these plans, they're so distinctive and they're so quick to make the decision. And the rest of the players on Beyblade Ninjas really so disconnected. We're still worried about a player lurking through mid.
It's just able to find that gap and make so much out of it. It's ridiculous. Now 5 versus 3. Odoro's going to stun the early crossfire, but only one player gets caught in it. There is a reverse for every action. Jade with one of her own, and you can trade here as much as you like. In the end, Adora is going to need a little bit more than a hot towel on the forehead to get that one off.
Hot towel? I mean, no. That blue and blast back on it. I imagine a concussion you'd get off the back of that.
You don't get that kind of treatment in the school, whatever it's called. I've actually forgotten what it's called. It's not a hospital, is it? The little room. The school nurse, right? Oh, it's like, here, just
how
have
do you forget what
you
a
just
school
remember,
nurse is?
like you just get a wet paper towel, right? That's what you always get. That'll fix anything.
Super Frog is playing this aggressively and even pushing in from tile.
I'll fix this round.
Yeah, we're just waiting. Very simple. Clearing it out, routing out any players. 3 shots from Liza, but can't escape Stars. 3-1, and Adora still wants more.
Yeah, Adora can hear the steps. There's weaponry to be recovered. For what it's worth, still a 3 versus 1, but Spectre in hand, minute left on the clock. An opportunity perhaps for her to isolate some of these duels. Knocks on the door, and there's nobody home in market at least, but Surrenderers will hear that. It's not even fully broken it as well, so again, Trapwire taking further information to that extent.
Yeah, the stun's not going to be able to get more than one here, Hazza. So while you stun one, there's others to peek off of, and you look at Jade already holding the utility. They know that none of the lines of sight are going to be broken, so there's contact.
Yeah, Cam for the first. Things getting more and more difficult for Adora. She's got to put the brave face on and try and find some way to make this happen. But the response electric from Surrenderers, knowing exactly what to do every single round.
Yeah.
And the anti-eco, absolutely no different.
Not only that, it's just the plans, again, actually pretty decent from Surrenderers. They make it a little bit interesting out on A main. Surrenderers just fight well and already play it slow. You were asking for a little bit of proactivity, and I mean, you can't get more proactive than that, Hazza.
Certainly can't.
Okay, let's get set up.
Just again, the responsiveness that they've shown, a distinct set of protocols, knowing exactly how to deal with these situations is just as important as dealing with them in fact. Lisa jump spotting for the first. I think Frog needs to be careful that she doesn't go too wide on this fight, because someone might peek out from B main and take her down, but still disciplined enough and actually just fully going for the re-clear themselves. So Beyblade Ninjas should have an idea now of where exactly it is. Surrenderers are set up on the map, and you can see the rotations are there to match.
So slow.
Even with this setup, Cairo, it's Sonya 1 versus 5 if she takes the P.
Yeah, and she does. Still able to get one though, but that's a rifle into the hands of another. The paranoia to keep the space towards Plat, but it's again Ivy that Surrenderers always like to push, and with the Fade ultimate invested, they won't hear where players are. No though, Adora doesn't need to hear, can just see and makes it work.
Brilliantly stepping up into the breach roll, doesn't
remaining.
pull the trigger on the flash, but it's fine because Reyna is already in position to deal with a threat. An empty one from Surrenderers in the end after that explosive first fight. Sonya losing her life, but it's the sole casualty of the third round. Beyblade Ninjas on the board, responding exactly when they need to.
It's not only that, the fact you've lost out on Petite's Nightfall is tough. So yeah, a reset on the ultimate economy there. But elsewhere, everything's just growing nicely.
That goes there.
I think you're probably going to be looking at the showstopper as closest for both teams, actually.
Beyblade Ninjas keeping most of those guns now coming into the buy round. Sonya up close on the one-way. Reyna's not really in a position to be supporting this. At least when that push comes in through elbow, she'll be very much left to her own devices. Sonya, again, good for one before falling. May not suffice in this situation, however, because the spike can get planted.
Spike planted.
Has been, no one's in that corner anymore after that seize. There's a utility to initiate it back in with as well.
The door on the stun's going to catch two players. Jade stuck to the corner, but what do you have to really condemn this? Paint shells coming out with the aftershock. Reyna profits off the peak, but so does Moshiru. Up top, jumps down. Petite finds 3 in and amongst it as well. Surrenderers converting the gun round. The Beyblade Ninjas can come back with some weaponry of their own, but still a few missing pieces in and amongst it.
Yeah. That's the key point. I feel as if these retakes, well, I mean, I guess that the one round was more of a sight hold and a retake has a just aren't convincing. The retakes need to be better. I know defense can be hard on Sunset, but Beyblade Ninjas with these 4 rifles need to find a way, because if they don't, they're on that awful eco cycle. And I like this response to the market door being broken. They've taken on towards B main, but still Moshi wins it out.
The stun also catching out Lisa. I'm not too sure if they would have heard the steps. They're almost ready for it, but no, Moshi caught completely unawares. Jade has util to flush out the peak, but the flash is deep as well. The reposition from Lisa should be catching her off guard here on the jiggle. Spots the shoulder and moves away. Surrenderers still having the player count, and now they can circle in on this final defender. The stalwart sentinel of the B site falls. Jade takes her, and now Beyblade Ninjas, couple rifles left. You can't buy for the next. It's got to be a damn good retake if you'll go for it.
Yeah, this could be a flood pretty easily, and looks like they are. Catch Jade, completely blind, but the rest of the players quite simply just trade off the back of it.
Even then, with Reyna back on the role that she's typically playing, you know, this dark cover has allowed a bit of space for a reposition. It's going to have to get shot out by Petite, but now it's a game of whack-a-mole. Sonya got the hammer out. Just peeking up and down. Petite wins it. It's a Badger in the burrow instead that bites back. And with 5 rounds played, Surrenderers, another strong lead for them heading into an eco.
That's it. They're heading into an eco, and that's the worst part about this, has it? The eco cycle begins. Not even at the maximum loss bonus yet either. Surrenderers can really start to make Beyblade Ninjas hot.
Look, we were talking about the duelist conversation as well. I don't know if it's the case that Superfrog is caught up in trying to make these calls happen again, but another 0-4 start to the map does not do you any favors, and she's going to be left unsupported in this angle as well, not unless it's a much wider peak. The stun does catch both, and for what it's worth, Elsie can only dispatch one of them. Adora in for another. Beyblade Ninjas, bit of a gamble on the proactivity, but it pans out.
Information from the boombot. Priority towards Ivy. The other 2 members of Beyblade Ninjas are towards that B side. This is still a 3v2 here.
They're going for a little bit more. I don't know how much I like this, Cairo. Adora silences any doubt in my mind here with an additional kill. It's a 4 versus 2, but again, the elbow player is a little bit separated. Adora's got to be careful. Can't quite release the rolling thunder.
Wow.
Oh no, the wheels are coming off. Mosharu for 3. Lisa one more, but doesn't have an upgrade. Doesn't need it.
You forget.
Emphasis
I always play high
on
stakes.
the doesn't need. Does it all herself. No teammates required. A quick double to find a second for Beyblade Ninjas.
Both players were quite low in the end after the fight's taken, but at the same time, has it? I mean, I was going to say it was an expensive. Do you know what? It was worth it though. Beyblade Ninjas converting a Thrifty with the loss of one ultimate, that being the Rolling Thunder. They somewhat stabilise their own economy, but also on top of that, somewhat topple Surrenderers. Win this round, and you're starting to do some pretty good stuff.
Necessary victory. The showstopper whistles past the left ear of Lisa. Taken out, Petite removes her. Reyna on spot looking to scorch the earth at which she stands on, but again, ends up getting burned. Plays too much with the fire. And this 4 versus 3 is a swift retake from Beyblade Ninjas. In flies the frog, but taken down by Jade. And a bit more normalcy about this for the attacking team. Adora well noted and taken out. Mosharu fells her, and yeah, it felt as if they were trying to force those fights just a little too much on their lonesome in the end there, Cairo.
It's not only that, you see Superfrog kind of take the opportunistic route, decides to send it. But the thing is though, Hazard, with them sending it there, they didn't anticipate the second ping from the Cypher ultimate. It caught them off guard, and it was easy from then on from Surrenderers. You've invested a Fade ultimate off the back of that. There's a lot to be invested there. In fact, there was actually a lot invested from Surrenderers, Showstopper, Neuro Theft.
Yeah. I think as well, Surrenderers are just demonstrating the benefits of this reactive playstyle. When you're playing as a mix and you don't have as many set pieces, that's kind of more how you want to set up. It being directive on a round which requires it. Up against the eco. Just mow through it in the end, and Elsie repositioning around the edge of the smoke, not just peeking blindly through it, takes down yet another.
Like a hot knife through butter, has it. That's exactly the way Surrenderers are walking through Beyblade Ninjas just now. 6-2. And the unfortunate thing is we can't really give much context here because we don't really know what the lay of the land is in terms of side preference.
No, I mean, they've demonstrated both equally
Yes.
and found great value out of each. So 6-2 now the scoreline for them. Surrenderers as well. We've got to say, this is their map pick, but it's not one that we've seen them play too often. The first time they played it as a mix was yesterday. But again, you're just seeing the benefit of some of those theory sessions that Jade was talking about come through in how they want to respond to this kind of aggression.
And I like that. I like the fact that there was a game plan from minute one in terms of like, oh, we react to this, we do X, Y, and Z when action A happens. And that's all it takes. It's just something as simple as that.
This is the attack side as well, Cairo. That match that we saw yesterday, played against our third place team in the lower bracket final, was a turnaround on the defenders' side for them. They went in at the half, 8-4 down, 10-4 once the pistol and anti-eco had been converted. And we saw a spell of 7 rounds in a row played, a couple more to cap it off, a 9-3 half on their defense to end up taking it. This is the attack. When they only found 4 previous, they've done more than that from here.
Yeah, and I think against those opponents, Hazza, one thing you have to say, the attack was poor though, so I don't think the defense was made to work as much. Hopefully that's not the case for Surrenderers,
very
but
true.
at the same time, I was going to comment, Surrenderers' attack hasn't been quite convincing either, so that's another thing to keep in your mind when you're making this decision.
Whichever way you flip it, more required of Beyblade Ninjas. A best of 5 and a pending clean sweep from Surrenderers. Couple of flashes traded. Superfrog noted showstopper out, but nothing found. Gazing towards the top right of her screen, hoping that it would light up with something. Any kind of good news for this defensive outlet. As things stand though,
The cage
could
triggered.
just continue to get worse.
Got you.
The spam not quite working and sight's already fallen by that point. The cam's still not destroyed right enough, finally will be, but at that point, is it too little, too late?
And look at this setup as well. Jade is still deep in towards main, but has a stun, has flashes, has utility to ignite a play. And these packs of 2 will now try and hunt down the remaining Beyblade Ninjas players before they even get a chance to make a statement of their own in the site. Superflog responds, but it could be futile and proves to be, in fact. Couple closing kills, a 7th spells an advantage for the second half. Surrenderers running away with this series.
Up in the map count, up in the round count, has a up in just terms of how it generally feels to see them play. Like, I just feel as if Surrenderers are the better of the 2 teams right now. Beyblade Ninjas, not with much of a response, and this B site just keeps leaking rounds.
You want to talk about that initiator conversation, the Fade players? The scoreboard tells the story almost entirely, Cairo.
Here.
Petite topping the charts, Sonya struggling. I think you've got to consider how boomed the mental will be for Beyblade Ninjas. You know, not only after these last couple of maps, but coming into the series as well without your de facto leader. It's players like Sonya, really, that you've got to be looking to sort of inspire something to happen. Elsie patient, finds her first, in for a second, thinking about the smoke. Lisa can't find an opportunity in the gap that she's presented, which will spell out her death.
Players scared to rotate through top mid. They have no control of it. They've not been putting tripwires there. Happy just to rotate through CT as they try and initiate back in. There's the paint shells to deny more space.
Elsie still up close and personal. Comfortable with her opponent biting out. Acquainted to the familiarity of them. Flashes continually moving forward. Surrenderers trying to take as many as they can. The judge would have been the main issue. LC scalps them both. 8 now for Surrenderers. This one a little bit more of a given considering the investment. If Beyblade Ninjas want to stake it out and stay in this one, they have to take these remaining 2 rounds, Cairo. They have to take both.
That goes there.
It's a big ask of them at this point, I have to be honest. Was the economy going to even be able to hold up for 2 if they lose this one?
Oh, this is a nice spot.
Not only that, you're going up against LC's Showstopper again. Jade's close to the Rolling Thunder.
It's hard to take positives because some of the best Valorant we've seen played from them so far is pressuring A main. It's always this B reaction that we see come out. And for once, the B hold will do exactly that. Keep the site, maintain the choke from further threat. It's Frog to find it, and a nice reposition in the corner as well for a crossfire.
How did that Prowler not catch Super
It's
Frog?
just curved to the wrong corner, right? She sidesteps it brilliantly. It's more utility that will need to be expended to flush out that position now later in the round.
And the rest of the map now truly being explored. Stars trying to get rid of the... trip.
Thinking about it, right? Just seeing if she can find anything over the top. This is a strong position. There is the second Prowler. Cage coming in.
And
Bit more pressure on this B play now. This is when they're going to force the main issue because of conceding top mid, and they win the fight from it as well. So brilliant stuff.
Yeah, that's big. And with the trap wire being gone, Jade slowly makes her way on his side. Oh, the smoke's baited them into looking elsewhere. The gap, unfortunately, ending them. And Stars just leaving a shoulder out too long. Petite trying to fight, can't quite get it done. And it will be that third that Beyblade Ninjas needed. We were asking, where are the signs? Well, the signs were in the gunfights.
Yep. It's a very individualistic round played, and I'm fairly certain that Jade will be telling this to her players right now. Guys, let's try and group up and find some kind of a response. And you can already see it reflected in the map. You actually even heard her say team in party chat there for a second. So perhaps a slight slip up on the keybind, a fat finger of sorts. But yeah, again, not the kind of round that you want to repeat in terms of offenses here. But I mean, in terms of what Beyblade Ninjas did well, they grouped up and they forced the main issue when they lost top mid. You know, you lose something, you fight for something else.
That's exactly it. Push and pull, as a great man once said.
Cage
It's not a great man's birthday today. We'll talk about that later.
It is.
Completely taking control of Ivy. And unfortunately for Liza, they've been stunned up and completely hunted down. Spike will go down for free. The rest of the players, look how restricted they are, and look how far forward Surrenderers are.
You know, like a staple of the A control that Beyblade Ninjas have had is looking after elbow. So conceding it there allows Surrenderers to get in, and they will continue to tread forward and roll over the Ninjas from this position. It finishes flawless, Cairo. Another 9-3 half. If there was a time to be wishing upon a prayer, it would be now, because you need some kind of a response. You need a response full stop here, if this isn't to be over in 3.
We are yet to see a 9-3 curse on Stream Hazard. And if we are to see a reverse sweep, which is what it has to be, if Beyblade Ninjas want to win out, it has to start here with a pistol.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
And even just looking at the scoreboard for a moment, it doesn't tell a pretty picture either. Not a single player can be that silver lining. You know, when we said about how many individuals you have here, it's the substitute with the most kills, and even then not breaking even. 4-1 split. Look at the main space, already taken away by LC though. She gets rid of the camera. This is where Beyblade Ninjas are going to increase in velocity and amplify those efforts.
Exactly. Holding on towards the CT space and actually holding on towards Plat as well. Remember, that's something that Surrenderers try to do quite a lot. Moshi trying to be that multifaceted approach to get rid of the flank. And now we're into a 3 versus 4. Attack taking the advantage. And Plat still held on to, by the way, from Petite.
That would have been the gun barrel, spotted Ivadora up close, knows that contact is being played. You have to be aware of that second player, but it is the player that wins the round for them ultimately. That double kill from Reyna, so impactful in just stabilizing things. Ninjas do not fail, they do not falter. They find the pistol where they need it. How much further can they go from here?
That's it. Now you start to get things rolling, start to get the momentum off the back. Again, we need another beefy bonus. We are looking to get it as Adora buys that Bulldog, or 2 Bulldogs from Reyna and Adora, and 3 rifles. I've been here before, Hazza. I've seen how this bonus, this anti-eco can be won pretty easily.
Yeah. So set up from Stars, struggling to put the spy cam on the palm tree. Frog actually spotted, so Elsie may be lining up a peek off the Prowler, and she does. She's tucked into the right-hand corner and is moving further up. Good supportive utility from Petit. The fault line has telegraphed this quite a bit now, though. Well, the paint shells will be landing near the players. It's not quite enough. It will be in the end. The only kill that they can show for from this point, however. And the only one that they will get.
Nice. And the end, 5 and 9. Again, with only 1 Bulldog dropped, as I imagine all rifles get through. There you have it. Again, it's a beefy bonus, as we've been calling it.
Maybe the beefiest so far, Cairo.
Perhaps. Perhaps it is the beefiest.
That goes there.
And if they were to win it, it would be well done, after all.
I feel as if like a beefy bonus is something that you would get like a workplace cafe.
Yeah. No, I was
This is
thinking
my
more a
spot.
steak. Well done, of course, being in contrast to medium rare, but
I like a good medium rare.
here we go. I won't talk about food because once we start, we'll never stop. Frog trying to get this one going. It's all of that buffed Cypher utility and a very deep trip from Stars as well. We didn't really see this happen all too often on the Beyblade Ninjas side, right? Just trying to fight for backside control, taking that as your minimum rather than going for anything extra. Giving yourself a foothold for these retakes. Look at Elsie.
Well, I was looking. I can't see her anymore, Hazza. Disappeared off the server. There goes
Great
Petit.
punishment. Yeah, no, that's what this round is all about, I think, from Beyblade Ninjas. Punishing the overextensions. They found 2 of them. It's a 5 versus 3. And even then, Sonya's still waiting outside B to catch this rotate from Stars, which she won't. And actually, that makes me a little bit worried now because it's Jade that you've got to beat next. Frog can do it. Still, 3 versus 2. A way back in for Surrenders here.
Enemy remaining.
I don't know if there's a way back in now, though. Losing Moshi, I think, will be the decider, especially with a non-existent HP bar for Stars. Need to get a magnifying glass out for that one.
Yeah. Pull the tweezers out, really give a good look at it. There's barely any left. The 5 points of Lisa means that the 5 rounds on the Beyblade Ninja side will move to a 6th. Back within 3, Cairo. And it must be said, for all of the shortcomings that their defender's side had, this looks to be completely different to what it was the last time Surrenderers were playing this map. I think the reads have just been that good from the attack at this point in time.
They have been. And every single time, like, Surrenderers have been trying to do something, it's been punished. The individuals have been winning their gunfights, which I think is a big point, because a lot of the time previously, it's like Beyblade Ninjas were just losing them. Got to start. It's got to be. It's got to. Again, it's what it is foretold by people above us. You've got to win your gunfights.
That goes there.
You have.
You thought
You
you was
have
going to say
after all.
something else.
No. I mean, yeah.
Yes, this should go.
There is a counter for I'm a Celebrity parody references.
No, I was going to say it. I thought it was going to reference Bren, but it's been over-referenced at this point.
It has. It has. And that's not just you. So,
No.
Beyblade Ninjas, another round, which they begin in B main. Stars again, just on the end of her tether,
Camera taken
not
out.
overcommitting to any of these fights, not giving a way back through. She is the sole anchor of the site here for what it's worth. Mosharu floating around, trying to be that rotate through market and mid. Early smoke off means that it calls for her attention.
But look at the response has on the other side of the map.
Yeah, there's proactivity about this, but doesn't really make a whole deal of difference if you're not able to actually follow that up by finding a pick. Lisa has taken the first of those players, still alive in tiles. She will hoard all 3 kills. What a triple. Like you say, sure, you can create that pressure, but even then, like, Stars is being sold out on the site, and the rest are dead before they can even make the pilgrimage there. A timeout from Jade comes as no surprise.
Yeah, definitely no surprise at all. It's been a disaster of a defender side. And like, I always seem dramatic when I say that though, but like nothing has worked for Surrenderers. They've tried again, and every single time they've met their fate. 7-9, they've really let this lead go. First 4 rounds on this half, won by the attack. Finally, we're on the rifle round, so this is where you can make the most of any impact after changes.
Yeah. Beyblade Ninjas getting a bit of a better idea of how Surrenderers are playing this, and like you say, on the defender's side right now, not really doing too much for them. Would love to be a fly on the wall, knowing what's going on in the voice comms at this point, because the gap now too. In terms of money, this is your buy round. How do Beyblade Ninjas respond? I feel like this is almost the more interesting part of the two because, you know, with the knowledge in mind that Surrenderers are looking to adapt their setup, or at least refine what was working from it, what do you do? Do you go for something similar? I think the answer is yes. It's almost a repeat from both sides.
That goes there.
Must be the way, they must be changing the way they're... Oh, showstopper out, and there's nothing really to find.
First comes the cam, then the shot from Mosharu, having to sit behind the trip. She's on top of the newsstand, trying to take the headlines for herself, and it's not easy reading. If you're Beyblade Ninjas, the feed says it all. One-way traffic, Moshi finding 4 for flawless. Surrender is double digits, the tack timeout paying dividends.
Hazza, that's exactly what we needed, the difference maker. Actually a crossfire created with Mosharu being up on the elevated spot.
Yeah. It's like such good micro, right? Like a tiny little adjustment that you make, and it just delivers so much value.
Yes.
Exactly, and that's it. That's all you need to do.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
Sometimes that's all it takes is simple stuff to change out. Stars just checking at the trip spot.
Well, even if it doesn't work the first time, as long as it doesn't get broken, then it'll work the second, third, fourth, as many times as you like. Cypher in a very healthy place where he was already on this map. Mid yet to be tested by Beyblade Ninjas, Cairo. How are Surrenderers going to deal with this? They do have an early advantage. The stun is almost a worldie, but no, Jade doesn't get away with it and lets slip the A play.
But not only that though, Elsie got the frag on towards A main, so they've taken that space as well. This isn't as great as plant spot or hold for Beyblade Ninjas here.
Moshi's also come in support. Elsie needs to take her timing. There's 2 players distracted. The stun catches Moshi out. They found the first, expecting it to be Elsie instead. Paint Shells catches nothing. Fight's taken by the rest of her team, struggling to reposition.
Enemy remaining.
And eventually hitting the deck. So all on Stars now. And again, a save, not the worst decision she can make.
Certainly not. Time is still in their side just now.
Oh!
It's doable, and they don't realise where the last player is. They'll find out, unfortunately, at the last moment. Plenty of time to get that spike diffused as well. A great effort from Stars, but unfortunately, a wish will not be granted.
Yeah, look, money for the next. So there is a bit of stock to that, right? Going for the 1 versus 3. And actually, Beyblade Ninjas really uncoordinated, giving away those fights. Stars turns away at the last second from even finding Reyna there, but she won't miss from that position. Checking back in on the scoreboard now, still the individuals doing the work, but it is a Reyna and Liza that have really been coming in with quite the number of kills. Heading into that upper bracket final, it was Reyna who had the most clutches overall in the tournament, actually. Elsie now on an op, though. This is a different beast.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was about to point out. The fact that Elsie's on this op and thinking about exactly the impact they had on Ascent. Nothing just yet after that initial pick, as there's a lot of pressure put on towards this market.
Yeah, Prowl catches her, forces her back. There's a spy cam over the top, though, through the grate in the window, so there will be information still that nobody has pushed up just yet. They can focus a little bit more on the mid-crunch. Showstopper misses, Reyna's still alive, but the mirror pick shatters it. Moshi takes her down, and that's the spike, Cairo.
Exactly, and now look at this. Look at where we've seen Petit reposition just to hold exactly onto that spike, smoke down.
Oh no.
And you've got Liza flanking through. That's maybe something that could really make Surrenderers uncomfortable.
You have to galvanize the round with it.
Left.
Spy cam gone into and shot out. Adora picking it up. It pulls 2 players away. Dragged in the market position, but the Prowler now hit. That can be re-cleared. Stun onto multiple players. Lisa lining them up. Needs them all and fights 3. Still not enough. Spike yet to be picked up. All Stars has to do is find 1. It's not a fight you need to win with 4 seconds left. But the round is taken in her stride. Surrenderers, they do it in the end.
Nothing.
Been able to string these rounds together, Hazard, cannot be more important. And not only that, that pick onto the breach in the end, it was a disaster.
Yeah.
Not accounting for the flank through A. And there's a couple of pings back on towards A this time round, but the stack is heavier from Surrenderers.
I mean, there even as well, with Stars taking that final fight, I don't have to imagine what it would have been like in the comms. Everyone just screaming at her, time, you do not need to face. And she won't, holds her nerve, round picked up. Beyblade Ninjas, how do they respond? It's a fast hand played, but falls like a house of cards.
Oh no, that's disaster again. It's striking at the worst moment, just when Beyblade Ninjas think that they had a chance, think that they had a comeback. It falls down 12-8, 1 more round to go.
Look at the timeline as well, Cairo. Tactical timeout called. Jade pulling the plug for 60 seconds. And 3 of the last 4 picked up. And you even look at the players' positions on the map, not even a lot of that is to do with having, you know, radically overhauled this setup. It's just being a little bit more comfortable with your fundamentals. They've left mid wide open. They know that Beyblade Ninjas won't be challenging it, proving to be the case yet again.
A contact play through 8. A one-way to be held by Elsie. You know the fade's here. And you've actually got the players off the angle.
Elsie's getting ready. She just needs the contact of 1. In fact, she jumps the guard. The spray down! Elsie takes 1. Moshi's got a couple for herself even as well. It's a 5 versus 2, Cairo. And we're on championship point.
We are on championship point, Hazard. And the last 2 remaining players look to hold different angles. Get close enough to trade, but I mean, up against 5, it's not even going to happen. And who else to finish it off? It's Jade, it's Petit, it's Surrenderers. They are your Lioness Cup champions for 2023.
Boxed in, the map feeling smaller with every single passing second. And Surrenderers become pride of the pack. They are your 2023 Lioness Cup winners and deserved victors at that, all the way through the lower bracket into the grand finals. On the day, a couple of factors will have gone their way. There's no questioning that whatsoever, but still, they deserve to lift that trophy.
They certainly do, Hazard. But tell you what else is deserved, a quick 5-minute break. We're going to do that, get back to the analyst desk and have lots of stuff to discuss with our wonderful host. Twiggy, do not go far.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Lioness Cup, brought to you by Women in Esports. For the last time, this is the last segment that we're doing. Oh no, it's all over. The sun is setting. Oh wait, actually, that's pretty cool. It was sunset last map. The sun is setting on the tournament. It's a bittersweet taste. But
you had 5 minutes to figure that one out, Tuggy.
Yeah, but look, I was busy. The second half was looking so good there for Beyblade Ninjas for a second. 4 rounds on the trot, and Cairo was signing out. You know what?
Yeah.
You good?
I was expecting
You gonna let me-
like a one of these.
Just, see ya.
I can go for that if you want. I can go for that if you want, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
No, go ahead.
We got
I
Valorant
need
to
to-
talk about. We got Valorant to talk about.
Okay,
Come on.
let's talk about the Valorant. We can do that
But-
later.
Yeah, no, Surrenders obviously did so much hard work in that first half with a 9-3 attacking half and just had to tiptoe their way across the line. And with that, Surrenderers taking the victory there 3-0 in the grand finals after what was an incredibly impressive lower bracket run, beating out several teams that got further in the upper bracket than they did. Guys, what a great way to end the whole tournament for them.
Oh yeah, I mean, what other way to do it? The thing is, though, is like whatever you want to see about the circumstances. The thing is, Surrenderers were better on the day, and that's the way that the cookie crumbles.
For sure, has a same thoughts there.
Yeah, I think not having the IGL made a huge difference.
Yeah.
You've got to give as much credit to Superfrog as you can, really, for stepping in and trying to make the most of this. And Adora as well, I think, especially on that last map, she started to show up quite a bit and prove what she's capable of as an individual. But looking at the sort of bigger picture, and actually the veto as well, I mean, for minute one, with that conversation in mind, it does kind of favour Surrenderers, because you're heading into Haven, which is pretty heavy on that kind of stuff. Ascent, a map which you've already beaten them on them before, and then Sunset, one which neither have really played. So yeah, definitely getting the most of that.
Yeah, I mean, very shortly we'll take a look at the stats and we can praise Surrenderers all we like. We should mention, though, Beyblade Ninjas having an incredible run all the way up until this point. Great upper bracket run and really doing so much work that it's just such a shame that they fall at the final hurdle here. But either way, look at this grand final. Surrenderers really earned that victory.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any other way that you can put it. Unfortunately, when it comes to the stats department, Surrenderers kind of swamp that of Beyblade Ninjas. Sonya, uncharacteristically not even here. It's incredible to look at these stats and see the differences, and I think the one that sticks out to me the most, Moshiru has found themselves as the top fragger within the server over 3 maps.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you see all of that, and I mean, for Surrender, their performance was just amping up over the course of not just the whole day, but the whole tournament, has it?
Yeah, it definitely was, right? I think, like, you look at Moshiru there and what a performance she's had, and we'll touch on that in a minute. But, like, even yesterday, where it felt like she had a bit of an off day, she broke even in that series that she played. So it was like, you know, having the potential to pop off in these big games, everyone doing work. I want to give credit to Lisa going 52 and 41 there, you know, well and above everyone else on the Beyblade Ninja side. But you're always going to get a bit of that when you are, like, the lurker, the sentinel player as well. Being able to find a few more of these kills which maybe don't have as much impact. Not to say that she didn't, because I think there were big rounds in there as well, but overall just nothing quite going right for Beyblade Ninjas.
For sure. Well, we can now take a look at our MVP for the grand finals here. Surrenderers doing an incredible job, but definitely at the helm of that, I think. In terms of ACS, at the very least, it is Moshiru who takes it away.
Yeah, and I think as well the impact that they've had from that smokes roll, their utility has been on point. I'm thinking back to that Haven game where even like the stuns, etc., that were getting put out, the gravity wells always led to something in terms of assisting or impacting the kills department. Fantastic from them in the grand final.
For sure, and I mean, this has not been, you know, it's been a long time coming, is what I should say. I think Moshiru has had these kinds of performances over the course of the whole tournament. It's just that it's a team that's quite stacked. You know, there are lots of people that can take away that one. Jade has taken it away a couple of times, but I think Moshiru definitely deserved that time in the sun with the MVP, has it?
100%. Look, I'm only going to say one thing about this, and it is, are you watching Focus Sakura? Because if this is who's warming your bench, then who's on your main roster? She's exploring her options right now. Like, what are you doing wrong? I really don't know. She's looked fantastic this tournament, and I would definitely have my eyes on her if I was building a roster anytime in the near future.
For sure. I think you can say that about a lot of the players who competed in this tournament as well. I think, obviously, that is kind of the idea of this tournament, is to highlight a lot of the people who, a lot of them are free agents making mixes in this one, and you can see so much talent and so much really amazing play. And I think that is something that we can take away from this whole tournament, whether or not we're talking about specific teams, specific players. We've had so many highlighted, talented players here. And yeah, I mean, it's just been an incredible pleasure to watch.
Yeah, it has been an incredible pleasure. I don't think we can ask for more. Oh, I tell you what we can ask for more of. Please give us more game-changer off-season tournaments.
Please.
I mean, that's literally all we want. More opportunities to cast these amazing girls, and on top of that, build more storylines between them. I think, like, coming into a game-changer season without those off-season storylines, you could be missing a fair bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think, look, this has been just such a learning experience for everyone in that we can see so much going on. And I mean, it's just been absolutely incredible. This is the kind of energy that you don't get too often.
No, of course, right? I feel like there's a real sense of community here as well, which is really great. And like, just having the opportunity to interview some of the players heading up into that first weekend that we had with Swiss. I don't know, I feel a sense of privilege for being able to cover these games 100%. Like, it is great to see more Game Changers events for women and those of marginalized genders. There we go.
There you go. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think word soup. Oh, I think. Okay, we have something ready, a segment to be ready for you guys. Things are going on. I think.
Can we get Billy out again? I would love
let's
to see
get Billy out
on the stream. Yeah.
Can we just like pull her into the call, like last
she's
minute?
Probably like cussing out our names.
Yes.
It's a great
100%.
idea. Either way.
So,
Yeah. You can do the thing. Do the thing. Do the thing, Cairo.
No, I'm not doing the thing. I'm not.
After the really heartfelt sentiment, I feel like it's.
Yeah, but I think that's probably. When you...
Sorry if we went silent for a second there. We're getting info in our ears as we speak. But yes, the
man.
tournament MVPs are ready. We've taken a look at so many over the course of the tournament, but these are your MVPs for the whole time. Claudia, obviously, having done an incredible job up to now and unfortunately not able to participate in the grand finals. And then Jade, of course.
Of course, it has to be the two IGLs. And I think, as Haz has already mentioned, a real miss from Claudia not being here. And as for Jade, I mean, what more can we say? I think that the fact that there was a real captain's performance from her, and the way that she implemented the game plan, fragged out, and even set up their teammates is absolutely incredible.
For sure. Well, I mean, what more can we say? Let's find out. Let's talk to Jade once again. We are ready and waiting here with Jade. How are you doing? It must be an incredible feeling. I mean, going from... it's incredible. You just kept gaining momentum. How did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We just... I don't know. There's like... There's something I always tell my team, okay? Before every map we were playing, and it just ramped up more and more. There was this mentality I brought them, okay? Our mentality was we fight together. We don't have a lot of practice, okay? I can say it right now. We have played more officials on Sunset than we have played practice matches. But we are ready to fight with Breach, with Fade, with Omen, with Raze, all of these people. We're ready to go, and we engage together. It's a big thing. Like we're always talking about this. We're like, let's fight together, and we do it because you win and lose as a team, right? So we won today as a team. That's it. I don't know. I'm rambling. Hi.
Rambling is good. Rambling is great. That means we have to talk less. Cairo, I think you next to go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, Jade, I was just going to ask you, like, how did it feel to come up against Beyblade Ninjas in this form, obviously without Claudia? Did you find it a lot easier to read the game, or was it more focusing on your guys' game and what you guys wanted to implement?
I mean, yeah, for everyone on my team, our priority was always focusing on ourselves, focusing on our moves. I want to say I did have quite an easy time to read them, but that's not because... I wouldn't say that's necessarily because of Claudia missing. Like, obviously it impacted them, right? I'm sure they would have got at least one map with that. But I still think they were playing well. I don't think they had
Yeah,
bad macro, bad
Yeah.
anything like that. So I think it's. I mean, no, I mean obviously you can feel it, but I think they still played a good like IGLing and good game. So
Yeah.
I mean, in your words, you said you could have maybe seen this team going out early, but instead you've won the whole damn tournament now. I'll leave it as a bit of an open question. What does this tournament really feel to you like on a personal note? Because you've been the IGL for this team, you're fostering some other players that maybe don't have the same kind of experience you do from the rosters you've played on. You won't have always been the one calling the shots. How has it felt to be part of this team and have led them this far to a championship?
I mean, it's I don't know. It's so amazing. Like it's not like the fact that I didn't expect it. Like I mean, it was a bad thing, but it was like I don't know. I just gained. I don't know if we're talking about it personally. For me, I feel like I've gained a new understanding of what I can do as a leader, and like I really, not that I'm taking the credit for their success. Obviously, like everyone is amazing on their own right, but I feel like I brung out something. Like I did a project similar to this before. We played as Vengeance on VCT Contenders, and we got like to top 3, top 4, something like that. We even won against Falcons one time, and it's like I don't know, it's the power of I don't know, the power of just teamwork and being able to build this like this great team in a short time. Like I mean, obviously you need to find the right people. There's no ego on our team at all. Everyone's ready to go for each other, die for each other, and understand their own role within that. And I don't know, it's just beautiful that I can bring that, because it's it's just so much fun. Like yeah, that's all. It's good. Amazing we win as well, of course. But it wasn't about that. I sent a cute message on our chat last night. I'm like, guys, I'm so happy we're on the final. I can't wait to just play one more time with you. Like nothing more than that. I just want to play because it's fun. We're going, we're fighting, we're shooting, we're screaming, or I don't know, everything. It's just, yeah.
Right, well, just one last thing. What do you think this kind of means moving forward? Obviously, the bragging right's amazing from the victory here, but, you know, are Surrenderers going to keep hugging together? Are you going to be, obviously, you're all free agents, you're all looking for orgs, but what's going to be the plan moving forward?
I mean, maybe we need to talk about it. We did play a good game. I think, I mean, obviously, I don't think this team will stick together. Like, it's just reality of things, but you know, I'm sure any individual player could end up on a team that's much stronger than what they've previously played with. I think they all deserve that. It's really a thing where I feel like a lot of players are out there where they have the potential to do good things. They just need someone to bring it out with them. And I think it's quite a shame that there's not enough good IGLs and definitely not enough good coaches. No offense to any coaches, of course. But yeah, like so many people, they have this power and they just need to bring it out themselves. And I hope I've showed it for my team today, and I really hope they will find good opportunities in the future.
Yeah, well, you absolutely have. Again, congratulations. Absolutely incredible performance over the course of the whole tournament, but especially today. It was absolutely a pleasure to watch.
It was, I guess.
It was just the extended pause at the end there as we waited for the interview section to be over. Oh man, no, you should be sorry, production. Anyway, but either way, that has been it from us. Look, it's been an incredible tournament from everyone involved, in front of the cameras, behind the scenes, the viewers, the players, everybody. Look, it's been such a brilliant tournament. I'm sure you guys feel the exact same way. It's one of the most fun tournaments we've had. And yeah, I mean, that is all from us. We have done our jobs. The sun has set on the tournament once again. And it's been an incredible one. I hope the teams that did get away with the the teams that did get part of that prize pool will enjoy that. Will enjoy the celebrations afterwards, whether or not they won, came second, or anywhere below that. It's been an incredible time. I've been Twiggy, Hazard and Cairo as well. Any closing thoughts before we leave?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a few. I've already gave one. The more game changers, off-season tournaments, please. And second of all, big up Billy IDK. I mean, someone who like kind of mentioned it in our video, does a lot of this on their own and has put forward what I think is probably one of the best off-season tournaments as well, comparably to other ones that's been run.
Yeah, just fully agree with everything Cairo said. Congratulations to all of the teams that have, you know, bagged a knapsack full of cash and are now running down the road with the banknotes flying out as you described it. But yeah, again, great to just have more competition in the off season, no less. It has been a Billy IDK masterclass, and I think we've got to give a lot of credit to the work that she's put in for stuff like this to be possible, because we need more of it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Billy. And that'll be it from us. We've done our jobs. We're going to get out of here, leave you to your evenings. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to the Lioness Cup brought to you by Women in Esports. Hopefully we'll see you next year, but until then, stay safe and have a good time. Bye-bye.